So, Vanakkam, Mr. Ramesh.
வணக்கம்.
Okay. So, this is actually a very interesting video that we are going to do. Probably this is the first time on the internet, or at least the first time in India, where someone is building a company's brand strategy live on the show, on a video. Usually, this kind of stuff for the brand strategy or the company's direction, everything is kept very secretly. Even the most public-facing companies still keep all these things, very private and secret, because they don't want to let their competitors know about their positioning, or what they stand for and all this stuff. Usually we all see the mission vision, what the company stands for, what NGOs are they supporting and all this kind of stuff, but we don't exactly see the positioning, the messaging, what they're trying to achieve and all this publicly. And I definitely haven't seen anyone build a company's brand strategy in a public video or a forum. So this is going to be first of a kind. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to Ramesh,
Hi there.
CEO of Astravue. So Astravue is a project management tool. Instead of me talking about Astravue, I will let Ramesh to talk about the company.
Yeah, thank you, Shashank. It's happy to be a part of something. To be the first, right? Like it's always good to be an early adopter or to be first in the market.
Yes.
And it's happy that you choose us actually to be doing the live brand strategy, which is like something very close to my heart also. Like I always believe something strong about branding. Branding
Yes.
is very important for any company. So I'm happy to be part of this. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and let's see how this turns out.
Okay.
I hope this will be for great guidance for companies that are building in a brand in the future.
Yes.
And for me, it is nothing like you can have if there is any secret sauce, if there is any secret recipes that you want to hide, that is fine. But
Yeah.
building a branding, I think it should be done in the public. So anyhow, we both are stupid pronouns. So
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
we are. I'm glad to be part of this stupidpreneur community. I want to say, and yes, we'll try something new here.
Yes.
Answering your question on what is Astravue. Astravue is actually a project management application. It's an app right now, which is focused towards companies like startups and service businesses, where they wanted to collaborate efficiently and get things done, either by achieving the goals on time or delivering the projects on time to the customer.
Okay.
So this is how we started Astravue. We are a team of 9 members, apart from a co-founder. So we have a few front-end and back-end developers, a few designers here, and then one marketer who is actually helping us out. So
Nice.
this is how we are growing now. We are not a company that builds in armies and armies of engineers. We believe like smart ass would be able to do the right work, and I believe I have the right smart ass. I always used to say that I'll take that again a pride to say that I'm only the non-techie in my the only non-techie in my company.
Okay.
Because like the rest of the people are from the techie background. Even my designer knows how to do the HTML and CSS, and still I am my aversion towards coding is still there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's and one more thing that we have geniusly done is anyone who is taking a look into the app, you would it's done entirely by a team of people who started as fresher in the organization, and that is how we have organically, like, they know the concept. The first 1 year was a little slow, but the last 6 months it has been rapid growth with respect to the features that we have done.
Got it. Yeah. So to give you a little bit context on who Ramesh is and what Astravue does, a few months ago I did something called as I crowned a few stupidpreneurs inside Tamil Nadu. A few people who are crazy enough to do a business, or be in a line of business which had nothing to do with them, first of all. And one more thing, that is probably the biggest risk that anyone can take. So that is the kind of people who stupidpreneurs are, and I was fortunate enough to know a few of them, and they gladly accepted that crown. So I want to say that Ramesh is also one of the stupidpreneurs that I came across a couple of years ago, I think. So basically, even though the project management market is is 8 billion worth, it is all been it's all full of big players, huge, all this Trellos, all this Slacks, all this what do you call this, Monday.com, all this huge productivity softwares. But being a very small player and also building with a very small team who come from tier 2 and tier 3 background in Tamil Nadu, where we know that there is not initially the understanding is that they're not very much talented people. But yeah, building a company with those kind of people, and still, I think you're just now starting to make revenue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a few months where you started to make revenue. So this is something that is really unheard of in a competitive market where companies are shipping features left, right, and center. You're taking the slow route. You're building a good loyal customer base, and to be honest, you already have a very good understanding about branding. And I sincerely hope I can help you in a few areas where I feel like Astravue could really use something. So yeah. So before we go into Astravue's particulars, I want to know what is your understanding about branding.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And one more point on the stupidpreneur
Yeah.
before I jump into what is branding. Yeah, a couple of things. Right, as you rightly said, right, when people, it is an 8 billion market,
Hmm.
and it's all about like, as soon as I started the product, I thought, okay, people will automatically come and revenue will
Hmm.
come in. In fact, I was looking at one of the tweet yesterday. There was a movie called Surya Vamsam,
Hmm.
where he will buy one small bus and then automatically, like in a couple of years, he will become a billionaire.
Yeah.
So someone posted that meme actually, and they told
Hmm.
that this is not what companies like you.
Yeah.
This is how we imagine that things will happen,
Hmm.
but uh, that is not the way it is.
Hmm.
That is a good lesson to learn. Not a good lesson. This is something that is a reality that we should all know.
Hmm.
Don't come with the idea that everything will fall in place automatically
Hmm.
until unless you have something unique that stands out,
Hmm.
or else that is something that the existing market, but is you're an early adopter on that particular market. That is one
Yeah.
thing that I understood. The other aspect is like many of them, like here, why I said it was a stupid pronouncement is like many of them doubted why in this particular market. It is an 8 billion market. There are big players,
Hmm.
right? Like I said, like I'm stupid, but it's fine because there is a particular area where people wanted a good software, good tool that will help them to get things done at the
Hmm.
right time. So that is
Hmm.
one thing that is lagging still right now lagging. There
Hmm.
are many big players, but they are either clunky or you have to. They give you the base product for a certain price, and on top of that, you have to keep adding the add-ons,
Hmm.
which will bring in the cost. So I am trying to solve that particular area,
Hmm.
and definitely, like I always used to say, that an example of a cafe or a tea shop,
Hmm.
you always have a market. If you know to who
Hmm.
the audience are, whom the audience are, you will be
Hmm.
able to market it. If you market it right, you should be able to do this. That is why I don't feel anything stupid about it, but still this is one of the craziest and stupid thing that I would do.
Hmm.
And another, in a couple of networking event, many of them asked, why did you build something with a fresh team of freshers,
Hmm.
actually, because that is going to be time painstaking journey, right? Again, there was a one stupid thing that maybe like people will say, but you should have actually hired someone who's experienced. Yes, I did have a couple of people who are experienced in the initial stage,
Hmm.
but we believe that there are many smart people out there in tier 2, tier 3 who are craving for opportunity, who wanted to show
Hmm.
the talent. Now, whether like my company would be a $1 billion or $1 trillion company is something the next. But now if you look, I can easily say that though I'm a stupid, my team is not never stupid right now because they are the
Hmm.
smartest right now. They have really built great. If you look into the design, if you look into the features, many of them now doesn't believe that it was built by freshers now,
Yeah.
to whom I shown actually. So you may call me stupid, but not my team, because right now they are actually very smart.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it is a stupid product. Thanks for
Hmm.
listening to that. Coming back to branding.
Hmm.
So branding is something that a customer always take pride of it.
Hmm.
That this is the simplest thing that I would always say. Like if someone says that yes, I use Astravue,
Hmm.
I'm a pride user of Astravue. There are a couple of things that I see that connects the customer with the company. The first is the emotional part,
Hmm.
because then if you know what is a pain, if you're the painkiller to the problem that you solve,
Hmm.
right? That solves a problem. Or it should be something about loyal, like a rewarding process. Like say for
Hmm.
example, um, to take for example, iPhone is a typical example that I always used to say.
Hmm.
So if when I hold an iPhone, right, it is pretty much expensive, and even a billionaire also holds the same iPhone.
Hmm.
And at the moment I hold the iPhone, it actually
Hmm.
it actually feels that I'm part of that particular club, right? So this is actually an emotion, which is like um, a high flying feel. There is a feel in it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure the exact adjectives there,
Hmm.
but you feel very high about it. The moment you feel high about it, there is automatically a loyalty. You don't need,
Yeah.
like, if you someone says that someone says that iPhone is not a great phone, people come defending for that,
Yeah.
right? That is called the branding. Like, that's the emotion that you connect. We both are Manchester United fans, right?
Yes.
So even though we are right now at a very bad state,
Bad team.
at a bad state, I wouldn't say bad
Yeah.
thing, but at a bad state, my loyalty towards Manchester is never going to go away.
Yeah.
And because there is something called, I associate myself with that particular company, with that particular club, and that is why I call branding is, this is what I call. So branding is all about the emotions linking to your loyalty, which helps you to take pride of what you own actually, or what you get. And that moment you achieve that, then it is called branding. This is my simplest understanding of it, actually.
Nice. Okay. So yes, I think you pretty much covered what branding is actually, but I'll just give a short context on what branding is in the literal sense so that everyone can easily understand. So a brand is basically a gut feeling about a person's product or service, which you clearly mentioned is the what the pride or whatever you feel when you interact with the product or service, that is the brand. And branding is the process of shaping that feeling. So whatever campaigns we do, whatever messaging, whatever positioning that we do, and the process of shaping that entire brand's gut feeling is the concept of branding. So brand and branding is these two things, and brand strategy is probably the combination of both messaging, positioning, all the business strategy, adding the design thinking, and all these kind of elements to it, and finally, it's probably the way to build a business. So that is brand strategy.
Okay.
So in this video, we are trying to make sure that anyone who's watching this understand what brand strategy is. This is basically a small part of my brand engine course as well. So just to give you a glimpse of what actually you can learn from this course. So this is like an intro video, or you may call it like a fresher course on how to build a brand strategy, a very basic ground level. If you watch this video and think that you can build your own company strategy, it might not work, but yeah, this is a very good starting point that you can do. Okay.
Perfect.
So let's start right away. So we have a small worksheet that we have prepared. So we'll go through it so that we can understand, so that finally we can give it to ChatGPT and give an very detailed approach to whatever we have in mind. Because if you're not using AI, you are getting left behind. So
Absolutely.
that is my opinion. So let's start very simply. So what is the name of the company?
Yeah, it is Astravue.
Astravue, VUE.
Yeah.
Right. So who are the co-founders?
Radha and Ramesh.
Radha. Founded in location
In Chennai.
in Chennai, and
Yeah, it was in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So yes. So, and one more thing is that whenever you start anything regarding branding or brand strategy, make sure that you put your company's name wherever possible, so that you'll feel resonated or connected with it whenever you read into it. Okay. So yes. So what this brand is about in one line. So that is the one major question that I want to ask you. What is this brand about in one line? Not the product, not the company. The feeling that you mentioned, right? What people feel, or the what people associate with when they think about Astravue. What is that in one line, according to you?
I think it's about getting things on time and profitability.
Okay.
This is the two things that I focus.
Okay.
Things are getting on time. Profitability is the obvious way.
Okay. So basically, Astravue is a tool or a platform or a method where someone can get things done quickly, simply, and also make money doing it.
Exactly.
So that is basically the whole concept. Because there is this one concept in the productivity space which usually happens. I don't know the exact term for this, but let's call it the myth of productivity. The thing is that 10 to 12% of an employee's time goes spending in this particular productivity tools. They usually juggle between a few different tools, but 10 to 12% of an employee's time goes in spending inside these tools. What happens is that just because I'm using a productivity tool or a software, I think that I'm already productive, even though on a ground level I have done nothing.
Okay.
So we can call this myth of productivity or something like that. And most of the companies, I'm not pointing out any single particular productivity software or project management tool. Most of the companies thrive on this kind of behavior. So one thing to put is that recently I faced this problem. Even though I'm a very big fan of Notion, I understood that a lot of people take a lot of time to customize their Notion to make the dashboard look very beautiful and everything. But in the whole process, they forget that why they are using Notion.
Yeah.
So this is not the company's fault, just the way it has been designed. And one more thing is that just because you did that entire thing, you feel really hard to abandon it for any other software. That is one more major thing. This is called the IKEA effect, right? Just because you built it by hand, built it yourself like a Lego block, you don't want to dismantle it or leave it because you feel very much connected to it.
Connected to it.
Yeah. So that is what has been. That is what Notion has been doing. I don't think they're doing it intentionally to, because let's say for example, just because I spend 6 hours on Notion doesn't mean Notion is making money of it. This is not like a website where it is showing me ads or anything. So that is not the goal of Notion. But a lot of people, when they come into productivity software, this is what happens because of the rapid customization that is there. One thing a productivity software should have, according to me, is that it should be very simple, but it should be customizable to a level which doesn't overwhelm me. That should be a sweet spot.
Yeah.
We will call this godly luck zone. There is a famous term called godly luck zone. It is basically the zone outside a star where it is not too hot, not too cold, where water can exist. That is the perfect space. That is the sweet spot, or cloud nine, or you can call it whatever you want. So that is the sweet spot where any productivity software should exist, right? Because as I mentioned, there is no additional points, or there is no additional revenue a company is making just because, or even your as a company is making. When I spend too much time on your software, there is no incentive for the company as well. There is no incentive for the user as well. But still, the thing is that this is what the problem is. So if you're building any productivity software, or even you're building, we have to build it in a way so that people don't spend a lot of time on it. Things should be get done very quickly, right? So to come back to this question, what is your brand in one line? Is that your brand is simple,
Simple,
productive, and profitable.
profitable. So that is one of the reasons why we also have this concept. Like there is a takeaway from here, one takeaway from there, from the point, and the tagline. The other point that I wanted to say is also, it's like we had a tagline called simplifying the complexity.
Yeah.
Complex. People wanted to have everything complex, but the ultimate complexity is actually simplifying everything. Actually.
Yes.
That's the most difficult thing to do. And from the takeaway from IKEA or from Notion, see, it's obvious, right? Like when someone spends, this is where the emotional part comes in, right? Like when you are spending so much time and trying to build like a Lego, so you're doing it the way you are visioning it. So that way, like people get personally attached. Now that is one of the reasons why, like even if they know like it is not going to work out, they don't let it go.
Yep.
Right. So it is more like the hard marriage. People doesn't want
bad
to live.
relationship. Yeah.
So, but since they build it, they have to prove that they have done a great job. Actually, that's the only point I believe they have it. See, I have been using Notion, but one thing that I noticed is the time spent initially and the time to customize it was too much actually. For a person like I'm, as I told you earlier, like I'm the only non-techie guy.
Yeah.
For me, it is not like certain things were easy, but the moment like I start adding more and more things, the complexity that it brings in is actually humongous. Like
That's a very steep learning curve.
There is a steep learning curve for everyone. We want to avoid that steep learning curve. That's why we say it as a simple. The reason is the moment you come, I don't want, like rightly said, like people doesn't have to feel that they are productive by using the tool. They shouldn't be spending time on the tool. They should be only using the tool to make them productive and come out of it and update the details so that the business have the vision of how they stand with respect to project, how they stand with respect to profitability. That's the only thing.
So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, one more thing is that we are no way against Notion in any manner, because I love Notion personally, because I use Notion to manage everything in my life. But initially, even when I first started using Notion, for the first few weeks, my whole goal was to make my Notion look perfect, look good. So that was the whole goal, instead of actually working on it. But right now, I train myself to make sure that Notion is just for like a place where I can organize everything, manage everything. And one good thing about Notion, why I like Notion, is that it gives you so much features in the free plan. You feel like you're scamming the company, and that is something any company should take away from a product, right? Whenever you're using a free product of a particular company, you should definitely feel like you're scamming the company of their hard-earned money. See, I know Notion is profitable. They are a unicorn, I guess. They are making money elsewhere. And I've been a paying Notion customer for some time now, but I've understood that no, I don't need it anymore, so I'll stop paying for it. But I still feel like I'm scamming Notion of their money. So that is something any company should look into. And one more software that made me feel like this is Spark Mail. I don't know if you've used it or not. Their email sorting, customizing, everything is so good. I'll tell you a few real use cases, few real stories. What happened is that there is no paid. Initially, there was no paid plan in the Spark email, but the company, I guess, Readle or something, I forgot the parent company's name. They had a few other paid products in the App Store. What people used to do is that just to support the company, they'll go buy a random product for no reason. They feel guilty that they're giving away Spark for free. And one more thing is that they don't want the company to kill Spark
Okay.
because they don't have a monetization plan. They don't want the company to kill Spark. We want to find some way to keep the company profitable so that Spark stays there. Right now, they've brought in AI capabilities, they've brought an enterprise plan, they've brought a team plan, they've made it profitable. All those aside, but initially that was how the product started. There are a lot of people who went and paid for a random product that company launched, even though they had zero use for it. So that is how good a product should be, right? Yeah.
And then see that boils me to maybe like you can help me out or you can help the branding here. So maybe few years back, this free is actually good.
Yes.
Okay, now for a startup for a startup company like us, how efficient is free? Because we also give the free plan.
Yes.
Okay, the free is like something in a very different aspect for 3 users to support freelancers, especially to support small companies and freelancers to look very professional in front of the customers. We gave this free plan so that they can start using it with no lock-in features. Actually. Okay, but I believe this free plan, especially in the crowded market, how is this going to work out? This is my question, and will this have an impact on branding?
Yes.
So this will be something that I would like to cover here in this particular. If it is helping everything, and if you wanted to cover, you can decide on that. But in this crowded market, how do we stand? Because now everyone gives you free, and now there are very few products that approaches a free model, especially the ones that were like 10 years back when you have Jira, who's having 10 years of free plan. They take that actually. They take the Trello because they have been in the market for nearly 12, 15 decades, or 2 decades almost, or maybe Basecamp. So, right, like so if you take those tools, they're easy, they're okay to adopt to the free. But anything that comes up new, there is always this why they're giving it for free. And especially in the crowded market, then there are too many options in the plate right now. How is this going to affect? Is this something that worth chasing it for the free, or we should approach a different strategy?
So two things I would say. So in my understanding, see, markets is not technically different. So it is probably the same user who is buying a Nike shoe and also using Astravue. They won't ask for a free trial from Nike, right? They don't ask for a 30-day free trial. I'll job with their shoe. If it fits me, then I'll buy it. They don't do that. But when it comes to a software, they want free trial. They want to use it. But yeah, see, once again, it is okay to some extent because let's say, for example, you want to buy a Nike shoe. You go to the showroom, you put on your shoe, you try it for a few walks, like you can roam around the store, you can take pictures, you can see how comfortable that is. And then if you feel right, you pay for it. So that's why initially when we talk about Astravue as well, I asked you if it is possible to come up with a fixed monthly plan instead of fixed user based plan, right? That is one thing. And when it comes to the free market, what happens with a lot of SaaS companies is that first of all, when you get funding, so you're a bootstrap company, right? When you get funding, the whole goal of funding or the whole goal of raising money is so that you can get a flux of users, so that you can raise the next round, right? Let's say for example you're doing a Series A, you raised 1 million. The whole point is to get at least 2 to 3 lakh users so that you can go to Series B as soon as possible, right? Because you can add few more features, you can add few more softwares, you can add a lot of other things. But that shouldn't be goal of any product. See, there should be a way for me to experience the product, right? There's a company called Rose.com. I don't know if I've mentioned it to you. There's a company called Rose.com. It is very simple, ROWS.com. It is basically an Excel sheet alternative. I'll just show you right away. We'll also put a screen share to the people as well. Rose.com. What they do is that they don't ask you to sign in. They don't ask you to do anything. This is a SaaS product which is making money. Okay. Wait. 1 second. Let me log out. So this is how actually the homepage is. Okay, so I've actually made an account with Rose, so that's how it is showing like this. What happens is that this is how you actually look at a page. Let me do this in incognito so that we can all see. Rose.com. It doesn't ask me to sign in. It doesn't ask me for any credit card details. It directly gives me the product. It asks me to try the product first. Instead of doing anything with sign up, login, nothing. So basically, just shows me the product. You can do data entry and everything. So one thing you'll notice is that I actually haven't made an account in Grow. It is saved with the dummy name. It is stored in my system's cache. I haven't even logged in yet.
Yeah.
It has been stored in my browser's cache. So what happens is that once I start experiencing the product, I'm more likely to make an account and sign up to it because I know that all these integrations are possible. I can watch an intro video, I can attend a webinar, I can visit the homepage. There is no pitch, there is no concept of what ROS is. You directly go to the app.
Okay.
You directly understand what ROS is. They are not restricting anything.
Got it.
This can be something any product company can do, right? Let's say, for example, I would suggest, let's take Notion as a clear example. Let's take, for example, Notion wants to do this. Instead of asking for sign up, they can build their entire homepage on Notion, ask people to drag and drop, do anything they want. Just hit a refresh and it will go back to normal. Something like this. We can try this for Astravue as well.
Got it.
See, initially, let's say, for example, you give me a dummy task when you give me a project management dashboard. You show me that, let's say, for example, you're an agency owner. You ask me a couple of questions. I say I'm an agency owner, I run a web development studio. You pop me up with a fake project saying that, okay, I am a client who's looking for a website. Let's try to use Astravue so that you can manage this much better. So something like this can be done.
Yeah.
So instead of asking people to sign up for the free trial, this is a way for them to use the product without signing up or making a login or making a database in your account and everything. So this is something any company can do, and I strongly believe every company should do. Right? Even this particular video that we are shooting right now, one reason I believe free works or free is the reason, or free is the way to build a company, is that basically people have to trust you before they are paying you money, right? So Nike doesn't have a trust problem right now, but 50-60 years back they had a trust problem. They solved it in multiple ways. They used influencer marketing basically back then. They signed up with all the top athletes, and that sorted out. Let's say, for example, I want to teach branding to people, but people have to understand that I'm good at branding. So I'm doing two things. One is that I'm doing three things actually. So one is that I have a very strong newsletter on branding, which is doing really well. One thing, this video, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to post this on YouTube, and whenever someone signs up to my newsletter, the first video link or the first email they'll get will be with this video. So before reading my content next day, they will have a strong understanding if they watch the video of how I can help them with their branding, right? And also, this is an easy way for me to pitch my products and courses as well. As I mentioned, I have a brand strategy course where I teach brand strategy. So the description will have both the links, one for my consulting and one for my strategy as well. People don't see. People don't. It's not like people don't like upsell. People are okay with upselling, but you have to actually give me value and then upsell me to something. What happens with all these webinars and all this free stuff is that 98% of this is upsell and 2% is value. But it should be the other way around. If they are convinced that, so basically this is what Alex Hormozy says. Let's say, for example, you give me so much free value, I feel like I have to pay you money in some other way because I'm getting so much advice. Even though your paid product is shit, people will come to it. Okay. This is not the exact terms that you mentioned, but yeah, I'm giving you a very rough. Just brief. A crux. Yeah. So coming back to your free part, I would suggest, instead of giving a free trial or asking people to sign up before use their product, let them use their product first. Imagine this as a offline physical store. You don't ask for their email ID or payment before they touch a product, right? Even though you have it inside a glass, you let them open the glass and let them use the product. So that is what I would suggest you can do online as well. Perfect. Let them use the product.
Now, yes, so, coming to that, so in Astravue there was another takeaway which I'll share it at the later half.
Yeah.
But this one, with respect to this, there is no denying it actually. So basically, initially, like when we started thinking about building Astravue in the year before, like all the COVID thing was happening, one thing is like have a middle in the website. There is a small section where you can just add the details and see and drag and drop all the reviews and see how things work out. Actually, just a preview of the app and have a feel of it. Done. That's the plan that we had. Maybe I think it's time to revisit that and put it in the website.
I think you already have another app called Labam, which does this exactly.
Exactly. So that is the experiment that again I wanted to try it actually. Yeah. So basically, you have an app like an Astravue. We released an app called Labam, which means profit or gain.
Yeah.
So since we are focused on profitability, we wanted to give an estimated tool that will help project managers and project owners or business owners to understand for a profit margin of this much and with the resource allocation of so many people, what is the cost what is the cost I have to charge to the customer?
Yes.
And what will be my internal cost? This is what they wanted to see. So instead of like asking them to sign up immediately, all I gave is like you can run the calculator. As soon as you open the app, it gives you the all the details in front. Maybe you can just show it when at the later stage.
Image.
So you can run all this information. You can input the resource utilization. You can input all the working days and all those things. It will tell you it will give you the financial analysis. The moment only when you decide, yes, I wanted to save this and get more intel out of it, that is when we ask you to sign up for the app. Until then, you can always keep running it, because and that has actually pretty much worked out, because I've been more than I'm more in LinkedIn, but for Labam, I have been very efficiently putting it in Twitter, build an app, build in public. So yes, there is a good review for this, and I also spoke with the community for agile and project management, and they were pretty much impressed in what they see. In fact, few of them voluntarily came and told that this is also a good tool for this cogs, right? Like building materials, like civil engineers and mechanical manufacturing companies also said there is in some way we can also use this, and they said they will give more input on this. So it's more like we're building in public, and we'll just customize it, everything, put it in front. But the reason why we put it sign up, because when you sign up, we are also taking a different approach there. It's usage based pricing. Right. So basically, you save it. The reason why when you save it, your resource information gets stored, and we start giving information about the number of estimates that you run totally. Like it will give you a dashboard of what is the number of estimates, and then it will also give you the capacity, like how was the team members occupied for this particular month or for a range of time, for a time range.
Okay.
So this is a way that we have played with it, and for that, since we are giving this intel, we are charging you for every saved project. We charge you 50 cents.
That seems very fair.
That's a very small amount that we are charging,
Yes.
and you have to. It's more like since it is all usage-based pricing that we are moving towards. So we said you are prepay get a $3 upfront, and every estimate that you run, it is going to be 50 cents. So, but of course, like we preload it with also $1 now, so that you can get again a feel of it. So there are two previews. One is like a teaser, and then there's a trailer kind of thing. So the first thing is you see the website, you get an estimate. Now we wanted to see how my project will look after storing the information. So we preload you with a $1 credit.
Got it.
So that way, like they can also save the project and see how things look like.
One thing I would suggest you do here is that instead of giving away that $1 credit for free, ask them to make a post on social media or share it with their friends so that they can get that $1 free credit.
Sure.
So this is basically free PR. See, anyway you are going to give away that $1. Why waste it?
Right? Okay. Write a review and
write a review or post it on social media. Do something. You can have a social pop-up button. Either they can share it on WhatsApp with a friend, or they can put it on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever the platform may be. You can ask them to share it in one place so that they can get that $1 credit. Right?
This is interesting because we are building it in public. You can definitely see this change in a couple of days actually.
Definitely. So this is something that you can immediately look into. Perfect. So coming back to Astravue, one thing I actually like is that Astravue is a project management software, right? And instead of Labam being a separate tool, I would want to have it inside Astravue. Right? That is one more thing that I really want to know, because when we spoke initially, Astravue's positioning is going to be specifically for service-based businesses. Not exactly for the next 10 years or 15 years, but at least for the first 1,000 paying customers, we want it to be service-based businesses or agency-based businesses, we can call it. Web developers, digital marketing agencies or design agencies, video editing agencies, branding agency, whatever may be, basically an agency business, agency service-based businesses. So that is the focus for the first 1,000 customers, paying customers for Astravue. Because there are a lot of tools for enterprise level management, but there are not a lot of tools for companies that are like 15 to 50 employees big. 15 to 50 employees. That is where a lot of cash flow positive, or high profit margin thrives. That is where people make a lot of money in an agency business. That is where people make a lot of money. So initially, for the first 1,000 paying customers, we'll focus on this. Let's say, for example, I am an agency owner. I get a particular project from a client. I want to allocate one project manager and three people. Like let's say for one designer, two content writers. I want to allocate 4 people from my team for this. If I make sure that if I've already pre-filled the data for all these people's hourly pricing and everything, so magically when I input the project, let's say for example I get it from a BDM. You put there's something called as what is that? The document?
Scope document.
Scope document. Scope document. I take the scope document from the BDM. Probably in the wildest future, we can have a feature where I just upload the scope document and AI magically automates or understands based on my previous work that this particular designer will take 8 hours to complete this work. This particular content writer will take 4 hours. This is probably in the magical future. But as of now, we can do this manually. Where let's say, for example, the project manager will be involved for 7 working days. The designer will be involved for 5 working days, 2 contractors for 4 working days. So I will arrive at a minimum viable number. Let's say for example that number is $500. So anything less than $500 is a loss for me. So even when I negotiate with the client, the simple thing to do is that 500 into 2.3 times. That is probably an ideal pricing for any agency.
Got it.
So 500 into 2.3 times is basically 1000, I think, yeah, $300. So I can start my negotiation at $1,300, $1,500. Obviously come up and down, but yeah, we already know that we are not making losses. A lot of agency, what happens is that they don't calculate this cost, they give a number upfront and they make a loss in the back. That is what happens.
Exactly.
So as the whole company or the whole positioning is focused on making the company profitable, this is something that should be an inbuilt feature inside Astravue. What do you think?
No, yeah, exactly. This should be the inbuilt. It
Yeah.
should be there in the tool. There is no doubt about it. So again, like at the long shot, I never thought about the medium part scope document. But I did have plans about Labam Big. It was more of a small add-on tool that I gave it separately. But the ultimate idea is to top it on top, like put it on top of the application, because it completes certain, like it is it starts to complete a cycle actually.
Yes.
So one of the cycle is like, say for example, we are talking about when we talk about service, like as you rightly said, the ICP, the target audience that I focused on is professional service agencies, which is between where employee count is between 10 to 50. That is the revenue part that I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'll be upfront on that, because like anyone who's having less than 10, even less than 15, they tend to use only emails or WhatsApp or Slack, and the things are still getting scattered, but they're fine with getting things done actually as of now. But the moment you hit certain numbers and you wanted to keep a track of how I have performed previously, your tool will tell you how many projects were completed, but how did I complete my margin? Like how did I lose money, or where did I leak the money? This is something that has to be tracked actually.
Yes.
What was my original quote? What was the quote that I gave to the customer? What is approved by the customer? And what is the ultimate profit margin that I gained? This is something that nobody doesn't have a complete visibility with one single tool. Things are done. One is in Excel, one is in again maybe in Slack, something in this one. So this is a part that you, as you rightly said, will put Labam on top of Astravue. And what you do is exactly like you said. There's something called scoping. BDM is like reading the scope document and building on top of that. You don't need to be the wildest dream. With considering AI in picture now, things should be much more faster than ever. But at least for the first part is build a more like a pipeline kind of thing, where you know that when you connect with the customer, you have a scope. Like you build a more like, imagine yourself as a Kanban view, with scoping as one view actually, one board, where you have all the customer task or customer projects that did one particular board. And then during the particular phase, you are talking to the customer. You're trying to get details about, like, say, assume that is a mobile app development. So what is a mobile app? What does it do? All the scoping will be done. And then it moves to the estimation part, where the business owner, the project admin, understand the team capacity. Who is available? What is the skill set I have? Now they will be mapping it, and they will come up with a estimate right now with the profit margin in mind.
Yes.
Now the next part is like it moves from this particular view to this particular board to the next board, which is the negotiation part, where you give for a certain amount, but they take it to you for certain amount. Like they might ask for a discount, and then finally when you win, then it will actually automatically move to the you create a project. Then that automatically you start tracking the project, keeping the profit margin in mind. So everything is visible from sales, bringing the customer, and project administrator or project manager doing the scoping till the project is delivered. You have a complete cycle, or maybe even a customer success management who's actually taking care of the later part. They will have a complete view of what is exactly happening, right? So this is the idea that covers this particular part. And of course, we also have, if you look, once I talk, like it's also, I believe for a service company, since we have account management, contact management within the application, you don't need to even get a separate CRM at the very first place actually. Because I have the customer details, contact information, and then you have the project, and you type Labam on top of it. I think it will be what do you call, cherry on the top of the cake, right? Something like that, right? So that will be the first part, maybe. And then once I complete this particular one, like the changes that you said, then on top of that, we'll start working on the scoping part. Again, like you rightly said, I was doing some research, and when I was talking to a community, project managers community.
Hmm.
They have, the biggest pain point is about the RFP, where they take only the key details, what is the requirement details, able to fill that information and put it properly in a scope document and send it actually. So this is the difficult part where they spend a lot of time. And it should also be the expertise, right? Like they shouldn't like I've been in the RFP part actually as a pre-sales.
What is RFP?
Okay,
Simple terms.
so RFP is nothing but request for proposal, or
Yeah.
sometimes someone says request for code, and so so people, when companies decide to buy a bigger, when they decide to take a project, actually they send this RFP to multiple
companies,
people,
yeah.
sharing the requirement with all the details, and then based on that requirement, people have to put in understanding the key points that they have to address, whether their company, product, or service can solve it. They will prepare a scope document and share all it along with the estimate part.
Proposal or estimate,
The
whatever
estimate part.
Yeah.
So this is the RFP. So this is the biggest challenge with respect to any company, because salesperson goes and he gets a project. Not one person goes in. There are multiple people who are, even a small company like I get 3 or 4. I share my proposal to 3 or 4 companies, right? So immediately they will come with different requirement, and I will find out who is actually asking me the right questions, who is able to do it, what is the skill set. They will share the portfolios and all this.
Yes.
But the first part is the requirement part. So if they're able to build, that is the biggest challenge that they are also facing it, which I want to address it maybe after this particular part is addressed.
Yeah.
So I'll take it as a step by step.
Done.
But
So,
yeah, very good point.
Yes. So as you mentioned, Astravue can have a very clear positioning. To my understanding is that we'll fix on this before we move forward. So the first 1,000 paying customers will be service-based businesses, which are teams which are between 15 to 50 employees. We'll little bit narrow down location as well. Let's say in tier 1 cities of India, or do you want to focus on the US market?
No, I would also wanted to focus on the US market. I wanted to focus on the US market.
Okay, so initially we'll start with the US market itself.
Exactly.
Which is located in, probably name 3 cities, New York or 3 cities.
Yeah, obviously New York.
Yeah.
Then the other one is SFO.
Okay.
And then the other one, which is like
San Francisco, right?
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco.
And of course, like Texas, like maybe Dallas or
yeah, Dallas, 3 cities. So we'll focus on these 3 cities, and this is not enough. So I'll tell you why this is not enough in the further sense. But yeah, we have a basic understanding, a very broad group of companies which are located in 3 major cities of the United States, which are service-based agencies between 15 to 50 employees. So this is who we are going to target Astravue for. And throughout your conversation, before going into any sort of worksheet or document, anything, is that I understand one thing: Astravue is a project management tool which is built for profitability.
Exactly.
That should be your major selling point. Every single position or every single area where you write about Astravue, that should be the one thing that you should focus on. See, one more thing for people watching this video, one thing you should understand is that even though you have a strategy document, you have a lot of, let's say for example, frameworks or guides that you go through before giving out a statement. One thing I've understood through my experience is that sometimes certain things click.
Exactly.
Sometimes when I hear a story, I understand that is something that clicks. Because I'll tell you what links this to a very, very nice backstory. I don't know if you have made this connection or not, but coming from a tier 2, tier 3 very conservative background, we were taught to do business in a way where we don't make negative revenue. We were always profit first. Because Tamil Nadu is a state which focuses on profit first. Even it is 1 rupee, it has to be profitable.
Exactly.
We don't know the idea of loss making startups. We don't know cash burn. We don't know marketing spend. We don't know branding spend, which we cannot justify. We don't know any of the stuff. We were taught from a very small childhood level so that we can make profits. Day 1 you put in 100 rupees. Day 31, if you withdraw anything less than 101, you've lost. You've made something wrong. That is what our understanding of business has been. So the same mentality is being put into developing the software, so that any agency or any company that is looking into this, the whole goal of the software is to make your business profitable.
Exactly.
So that you can understand where you are leaking money, where you are losing money. Even though you have 20 active clients, you are effectively losing $1,000 per month. Even they're having 20 active clients. So basically, when you look at the software, you can understand that with 5 clients, actually only the 5 clients are a cash cow. The other 15 are basically losing you money. You don't even have to cut short your team. You can just let go of these 15 clients and understand that all these 5 clients are making you money. Why not just stick with them?
Exactly.
Right.
So sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah.
So coming to that particular point, there was during my, like when I started Astravue, then I was doing consultancy services actually. Um, we found out like one thing that I noticed is that certain companies, like it was a, let's say for example it is a $50,000 dollar project, right? It is $50,000 project. We get excited
Hmm.
and we start doing it. But ultimately, if you look the time range and the number of resources that got involved in it, or ultimately my profit in that entire project would have been only $2,000 after a month of like 8. Just I'm giving a random number
Yeah.
actually that you should get the numbers. Uh, but same time, I took another project which was only for 30,000 or maybe like 25,000. But I completed within a month time, 2 months of time, and I got a profit of almost 50%.
Yeah,
Right
exactly.
now, people, since it is bigger like amount, it doesn't mean it gives you the profit.
Yep.
Okay. Now, since it is a smaller amount, it doesn't mean that it is like these are. I always used to say these are the low hanging fruits for any company which they have to focus, because you have the profit margin well in eyesight for you. Don't drop that ball, focusing on the other part. If
Yeah.
you have 5-10 customers which who are going to give you these numbers, focus on them, get them, and they will also become your recurring customer also, by the way. Like that is how I've seen certain companies that I consulted have grown actually.
Yeah.
So big is not always like profit is there.
Just because the bill value is 1 lakh or 10 lakhs doesn't mean that you'll make 1 lakh profit.
Exactly.
But it's still very small percentage. And the thing is that they only look at whole numbers. Let's say, for example, I take a 10 lakh project and I make 1 lakh profit. That is 10%. But let's say, for example, I take a 5 lakh project, I only spend 3 lakhs and I make 2 lakhs profit. That is basically 20%. But on whole numbers, that looks more.
Yes, right.
This looks less. But what happens is that a business should understand that it is about the percentage a lot of times than the whole number as well. Right? So, because for a small agency, the goal is to have a lot of recurring projects so that you don't run out of money. You are not a big multinational corporation where you have crores and crores in your bank balance. You are a small agency that has 15 employees to feed every single month. So, your goal is to make the maximum revenue possible of minimal projects. That should be your goal.
Exactly.
Right? Maximum revenue possible from minimal projects.
That is the other reason why we found out this is actually the gray area which many companies doesn't focus. Like with all most of the customers that I spoke for the last couple of years, we found out that this is something that many smaller companies doesn't focus. They think they have multiple projects, they are busy, they're all good, but at the end of the day, like if they what's it called, the profit P&L sheet or the profit margin sheet, like they are leaking money heavily.
Yeah.
They are not able to grow as they have expected for. They limit themselves. But if they focus, if this particular tool that gives you this insight, then you should be you should grow actually. That's the idea is our tool is more like any tool, not only my tool, like any tool is always a facilitator for what you do. It's not like going to replace anyone. It's not going to do any magic for you. All you have to do is the moment it comes and sits in your environment, it fits with your process, making sure the process are done at the right time. It's aligned, and then it also shows you the information, that's the right information that facilitates you to move in the right direction.
Yeah.
Let's say if you understand that clear, then because I have seen companies where they believe like as soon as I buy the tool, I don't need a process, I don't need the people, they will do magic for me. No, that's not the case actually also.
Yeah. So yes,
Sorry to interrupt that. I think
sorry.
I was interrupting.
Before we move forward, this is one thing we'll fix on. So the goal of Astravue or the mission of Astravue is to make sure that you turn an agency profitable.
Exactly.
So to put it simply, that is how it is. And one more thing is that when we go to the landing page part and when we go to the messaging part, I will constantly push you to put this on a landing page so that companies can see. Let's say, for example, if I was designing Astravue's landing page, it would be like this. We are focused on helping agencies to become profitable, and subtext saying that agencies become 17 or 18%. This should be an actual number, not a made-up number. Are 18% more profitable within 3 months of using Astravue, something like that.
Exactly.
This should be a statement that should be very much focused on user, because when I look at it, I know that I'm saving money. This is something that you should do, but we'll go in deep when we go to the messaging part, right? So coming back to a lot of mission statements that a lot of companies have. But one thing what a lot of companies do in their mission statement is that they craft a very beautiful statement from ChatGPT or use words like synergy, dependencies, change the world and all this, but it means nothing. It's just a fancy statement they put on a website or probably in the wall of the founder's office. But yeah, I want to ask you something that is very clear. This is not a mission statement or a vision statement, but something that is very clear. Why does this company exist or Astravue exist beyond to make money?
It's a good question there.
Yeah.
Okay. Why we exist, and I'm not talking about the money part, but let me
Yeah,
tell you very
leave
clear
out
on
the money part. See, obviously, the goal of a business is to make
making
money.
money.
But why do you exist beyond that? There should be some vision or a force that is driving you there, right?
Okay, so two things is I want to be the when I started working on it, there was like a lot of business softwares out there actually,
Hmm.
which was making life very tough for many.
Hmm.
So, and that in fact created like a lot of the tools were have to facilitate, but it was creating rift
Hmm.
actually. So, wanted to the reason why I've understood is because of the steep learning curve, because
Hmm.
people have certain limited access, because of, people got certificate on that. It became more and more complex towards it.
We'll go to the market, separate market. The
Yeah,
certificate is a separate
separate
market.
market.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it was there actually. So this
Hmm.
was the first part actually. So I wanted to be the, I wanted to build like a one-stop solution or a platform for any businesses to operate actually.
Okay.
That is that is my
Hmm.
long-term vision. It's not like
Hmm.
it's my, uh, it was there in my mind for quite a long time. I wanted to be the number one what I do actually. So
Yeah.
everyone wants to do that, but I wanted to be number one, especially in the workplace. If you call the number one workplace business OS,
Hmm.
I want Astravue to be there. Actually. That is
Okay.
my ultimate
Okay.
goal that I wanted to be there.
Hmm.
Now coming back, why we are here? Because like I always believe in employee experience at the very first place.
Hmm.
It's first of all, in any organization, you take care of your employees in the best way. Mm, they will take care of your customers.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that I can say, because even now, when I go for like people who know me, they I know like couple of for a couple of days actually I won't be here in Chennai because I take my motorcycle and I go
Yeah.
out. And even during that particular time, anything that comes even in support or even in this one, automatically my team takes care of them. It
Yeah.
is not anymore, Astro is not anymore my company, it is our
Our
company. The
company.
reason, because that is how I
Hmm.
built within that. And that is how I want to see every organization grow. They
Hmm.
have to build an employee experience.
Hmm.
And for that, any tool that facilitates that to make them
Hmm.
easy to use and enrich the experience of the company.
Hmm.
I wanted the application to be there. We, in fact,
Hmm.
like maybe consulting as a service, I want to do it at a later stage of my
Hmm.
like once the product gets hit there.
Hmm.
I want it to be also like saying how employee experience is very important in every
Hmm.
organization that has been there, and this is what we wanted to set actually.
Hmm.
We are a tool which, considering everything is going in remote,
Hmm.
considering everything is now
Hmm.
hybrid,
Hmm.
we wanted to be the one stop solution for
Hmm.
making things easier and making
Okay.
the life easier for all the employees out there.
Okay. We'll put it in a little bit more polished term.
Yeah,
So my brand exists to simplify businesses beyond borders, something like that. Because as you mentioned, remote work is going to become the new normal. And when remote work becomes the new normal, the thing is that you don't have to be limited with the employees only in your country or state or city,
exactly.
right? So we'll do something that is, you know, that helps businesses simplify beyond borders. We will put that in. Exists to simplify businesses beyond borders. So the reason for asking this question is that a lot of companies they start with a very nice vision statement or mission statement, but later stages they get diverted because they make a lot of money and the whole core idea or philosophy fades away, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples on why this question is very important. When I started Stupidpreneur, like even though I'm focusing on Stupidpreneur full time for the past 4 to 6 months on the day I'm recording this video, 4 to 5 months on the day, depending upon this. But initially, 2 years ago, when I had this idea, I came across a single tweet. I forgot who this tweet was from. They mentioned that 98% of businesses die within 3 years in Tamil Nadu because they don't understand what branding is.
True.
This is what happened. That is when I understood that okay, I know branding, and what a lot of people in Tamil Nadu understand is that this is a very superficial term or this is a very broad term. Branding is a very complicated term, and me being a very small company of 3 to 4 people, I don't need branding. When I grow to a crore and crore revenue, $1 million businesses, then I'll start doing branding. But right now, I don't need to do it. That is what people's understanding is. But the thing is that when you start doing brand strategy in a very earlier stage, let's say for example, pre-revenue or when your revenue is less than 10-20 paying customers for a product-based company, if you start doing a brand strategy right, the chances of you becoming $1 million company are much easier. You have a better odds. You have better odds of doing that. So that is what brand strategy basically gives you. And one more thing is that whenever someone looks into branding and brand strategy, they understand that, okay, this is a way to build a boring company. That is absolutely not. See, most of the time, brand strategy helps you to understand this is not the stuff that you should say, not the stuff that this is what you should say. This is not the stuff that you shouldn't say, right? So when I started Stupid Partner, the whole philosophy and the whole idea was that I want to help businesses. I want to help business in Tamil Nadu or business in India to build a sustainable brand around their product or their company. When you build a sustainable brand, I'm basically selling a dream. The dream is that you can build a company that will outlive you. I'm telling this dream to a founder. So if I'm telling this Stupid Partner or my branding philosophy or even my course to Ramesh, my course on brand strategy to you, I'll say that this brand strategy is the whole framework or the whole or the whole whatever you may call it, the whole base that will help you build Astravue into a company even after your lifetime. Let's say, for example, your children come and take care of this business, or you put in a CEO, this becomes a private limited company, or this becomes even a public limited company. That is when all this brand strategy will really help, because Ramesh that time felt that, okay, I want to build a company beyond my lifetime, because a lot of great companies are built that way. See, Steve Jobs did not think very small on a very small level. Apple did not lose millions or billions of revenue just because Steve Jobs passed away. That company became much more profitable, all because of Steve Jobs' initial brand strategy. See, at that point of time, that was not a very widely used terms, but Steve Jobs really understood what branding is. He's basically the godfather of modern branding, if you ask me. All this kind of philosophy and all this kind of this one line statements, this is what drives a brand towards that light or their north star or whatever it is. So that is why I asked you this question: why does Astravue exist beyond to make money, right? Because that is the founder's vision,
No,
right?
exactly. See, more than vision is something that
Hmm.
might change after five,
Hmm.
5 years, 6 years, maybe 10 years actually, because the world evolves, right?
Hmm.
So your vision statement can also change. See, if you had asked me like maybe in my early 20s, if you had me, what is your vision?
Hmm.
I would said I wanted to be brilliant. Now maybe in my in my late 30s, if you ask me what I want more power.
Hmm.
Things have changed.
Political power.
I wouldn't say that power is different. It need not be
Yeah.
political. Power is something beyond
Hmm.
certain things, right? Like if you have a superpower, you can.
Okay. Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
power is completely different, right? Like even you can be a billionaire or a trillionaire, but you have to respect what is like since you talked about political, you
Hmm.
have to listen to
Yeah.
the politicians actually, right? If it is a president of the country or the prime minister of the country, you will have
Basically, the lawmakers. Yeah.
lawmakers. You have to. So they are powerful. Now, if
Hmm.
they decide like to crush you, they will crush you. So the reason why I'm saying is like earlier I wanted to be trillionaire. I
Hmm.
think everything I can buy. Like
Hmm.
maybe after a certain point, now I believe okay, more than that. My biggest thing is the power in it.
Hmm.
But maybe in another 10, 15 years, if you ask me, what is that? The biggest vision is to have a simple life.
Yeah.
It can change, right? Like the reason why I said is like the vision can also change a little bit, so it is not something. But as a branding, like branding is something I associate also with legacy, right? In the sad story is like I was reading an article. I'm not sure about where I read this article. There
Hmm.
is one term where a small nation like Japan
Hmm.
has Honda and like more than like 100 more than companies that have existed more than 100 years
Yeah.
are more than like 15, 20 there actually.
Hmm.
Whereas in a country like India,
Hmm.
we have not built something. There are very less.
Hmm.
I'm not saying we have not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Very less. Yeah.
very less comparative with comparison to the population also,
Okay.
right? So this is something that came as a surprise. Now, when I started building, like it's not something that always like we used to say like, okay, I'll give you an example on a different aspect, not more than Astro. It's an easy, simple example. I used to say
Hmm.
we have this club for biking motorcycle club
Yeah.
for Honda, and generally I lead the team. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, when I started building, like I used to say right now with a vision, like we wanted to be the vision statement was we wanted to be the number one uh, motorcycle club
Motorcycle
in
club.
Tamil Nadu, and
Okay.
we are actually the only club for only Honda, like how they
Hmm.
have for Royal Enfield or
Hmm.
BMW. we are very similar to Honda, and that is how we have actually maintained that. Many people have
Okay.
asked, why not bring in multi brands and all, but we said no. This helps us to stand unique
Yeah.
from the crowd, and we are standing there. The other part, then when we looked into it, I always used to say, when I talk to the team, I used to say, like, if I don't want to create a dependency. Now the club is something that has been a unique name. Now we have in the city, and many people know the club. It should not be tied. Okay, Ramesh, because of Ramesh, I'm here. No, that is not the way. Like, even if I step down from being the captain or the president of the club, still it has to move forward.
Yeah.
Someone has to step up and do it.
Done.
When someone steps up, I will still have to follow them. As simple as it. Even if I buy, like, I just retire, that has to go as a mission. Like, that is called the branding, and that has to go.
Done.
I used to say this because many people think, okay, like they get personally. There is nothing wrong in personally attached. My personal emotional attachment will be still there when I come out of it. But something that I built, and if it stays for a longer time, the feeling is different, and even it exists after my afterlife. That is what I have built. Like, I have built something unique, which no one has that, right? Like, that is a kind of thought process that everyone should have. I'm not like a person who has come from a business background, but I understood this process, like saying that I wanted to build something that talks about me, maybe in a very pride factor, I would say, but I would say, like, it has to say my name even after my death, actually. Right?
Nice.
So that is what I
Yeah, I mean,
wanted
we
to
still
do.
talk about Steve Jobs after all these years, right?
So that was there in my mind. It is not about like I get tied to it, and I cannot come out of it. And if I create dependency, then my organization dies with me.
Yeah.
The moment I go away, like, everything dies with me, until unless it goes public and someone. But again, like, it will go in a very different direction, or may not, actually. So that is something we can leave it to the how the market reacts to the product. But think about building something unique that says your name even after death.
Done. So yes, we'll put this into this worksheet template. Okay. So one thing is that why the strategy exists. I have an answer for this because we spoke about this before. The reason for the strategy is to find out the purpose of the brand. The purpose of the brand is to make small scale agencies profitable. So that is what you've told me. And that is what Astravue is also striving to become. It is almost halfway, more than 80% there. So the goal of Astravue is to make agencies profitable. So that is sorted out, and we'll go to the next clear one line mission statement. So this mission statement doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to use words like synergize or very posh words. But do we have a mission statement, or it is there on the website, or is it something there?
It is. Even if you look into all my banners, you can see the mission statement.
So what is the mission statement?
To make every project of yours profitable. That's the simplest mission statement that I have.
Okay. To make every project
of yours. It's focused only for agencies, right? So
yeah.
So it is to make every project of yours profitable.
Profitable. Done. And I'll tell you, for people who are watching, the reason to have a very strong mission statement is that you'll have a vision statement that is probably 10 to 15 years in the future. And the mission statement is probably the first few steps that you're taking towards your vision. If both of them are not aligned, it means that you're doing mistake in some level.
Exactly.
You either have to come back to your brand strategy, because this is not a document that you do one time and throw it away, or put it in, say, ChatGPT and make a custom bot out of it and throw it away. This is not like that. You have to keep constantly refining certain things year and year after, so that you are clearly aligned towards your vision, right? See, because as I mentioned, the vision of Stupid Partner is to make Tamil Nadu businesses self-sustaining. That is the vision. For me, branding is a way to do that. Let's say, for example, in the future, I feel like teaching people CROs. There are a lot of companies that have CROs, chief revenue officer. Teaching how to make revenue from a product. If I have to do that, either I'll find someone to do it for me, or if I know it good enough, I'll probably do that. But right now, I feel like branding is probably one of the best ways a company can stand out.
Exactly.
Because a lot of companies have a standout problem. They have an amazing product, but they have a standing out problem. There are competitors that do the same thing, but they know that their product is better, but they don't know how to differentiate themselves. And one more thing is that when I looked at Astravue, that is what I felt as well. Astravue is better than a lot of big project management tools, but it still lacks in certain areas in terms of messaging, not in terms of product, because the product is amazing. As I mentioned, it lacks in certain areas of this, positioning or messaging statement, because people don't exactly understand why I should use Astravue. So that is what I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
And Just to give you a hard sell, this is what we'll be doing in the entire course of the brand engine as well, which has been linked below. So if you want to build your own brand strategy, there's an amazing worksheet for 70-80 pages that people can fill out, look at the video, do it for yourself. And if you want, you can also take me consulting with the course as well to to build your company. So yeah, coming back to the video. So one thing that you mentioned is that the mission is to make every project of yours profitable. So that is basically to make every agency project profitable. You can tell me, you have to tell me. So everything starts with the why. Why this right now? Why this right now?
Okay, so if you look right, like now earlier, like a decade or maybe two decades back, people wanted to work a lot. So very few businesses existed. Many of them wanted to say like they wanted to start be an employee of that particular company. Now maybe after COVID or maybe after the starting of this decade, you see a transition that is happening. People are now like it's more like the influencers have come out. They start their own brand. People who have been working in a larger companies, they come out and they have their expertise which they believe can serve certain market, and they start their own companies now. So more than any time, like the number of companies that have registered, I'm not sure about the number of companies that have registered in the recent times, but it has increased a lot across the globe, is my belief actually. And now this is a time like when, and people who, there are a lot of first time entrepreneurs like me, and when they come into, especially most of them actually doesn't start a product as such. If you look out of one, there will be 10 or 15 service companies that comes because they want their immediate selling point is the services. They have the expertise of certain things actually. They would start doing service businesses. But the only thing is they will in the journey of getting the customer, they ignore the profitability part.
Yeah.
They know that they're getting money, so it is going in rotation. And now ultimately after 2-3 years, they will come back complaining, see, I'm doing business, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure where I'm making the money, or where I've gone wrong. I don't have this intel. Now, more than any time, I believe this is the right time. That's one of the reasons I actually pivoted from being a productivity tool to just serving only the internal teams. I found out that this is a path that many are not aware of it, and we started focusing towards the service business. And of course, the other part is like we also like the gig community is growing. It is going to blow up in the next 3-4 years actually. By 2020, it is big. It's going to be like it is going to reach the peak, is my understanding, based on the research that I found. That is one of the reasons why we also gave the free forever free plan to those people, because when you talk to any customers, the moment you say that I'm using this tool, you whatever project that we do for you, I will add you as a guest. You log in and keep a complete track. I will start sounding professional from day one. You have to sound professional. If you wanted to stay longer in the market and you don't want to get vanished very soon, then I believe this is how we have to start for the freelancers. And people who are actually succeeding in freelancers, the natural transition is from freelancer to entrepreneurs. And of course, they're going to create a lot of opportunity in market for the existing population. And so when they start using my tool will be the natural adoption for them when they grow, actually, when they grow from a freelancer to an entrepreneur, because they got used to it. So that is the idea for the free forever plan for 3 users for freelancers. And then the rest, see how things move forward actually.
Yeah.
So that is why we started, like there is no lock, and of course, like my co-founder and I had discussed about why lock the features. But the one thing I said is like people wanted to see what I can do with the entire project. Like I need to know the entire features. If I lock them and then I put different plans and I restrict them, again it is going to be like I'm going to fall into a different category. So let them, give them the option to explore that. It is not a very complex tool. We are focusing only on certain things. I'm not building complex automations within the tool. I'm not building complex workflows in the tool. I'm just keeping it simple for them so that they can enjoy the product and sound professional in front of the customers.
Yeah. So this, you mentioned a lot of reasons why this tool exists, right? But one thing that felt so powerful to me is that agencies don't know where they're making their money from.
Yeah.
So that is one of the biggest pain points that any agency has. As even initially we spoke, they'll have 20 different clients, but only 5 are their cash cows. The other 15 are just burning money.
Correct.
So agencies have to clearly know that where they're making their money from. So that is why this product exists, or this is why this company exists, to make sure that agencies know where their money is coming from, right? So we'll have this one side and move on. So this is the brand vision. So what we want to create, shift, or leave behind. This is probably, let's say for example, if you're writing a death note for Astravue today, Astravue is shutting down. I mean, this is very hard for you to imagine, but yeah, imagine the scenario where you're writing a last piece of editorial or a piece of letter to your internal team and external users and everyone. Astravue is shutting down today. What is that one thing that you would have changed, or what is that something that you would have changed?
It's very hard to imagine. What is the
Yes.
one thing that has changed, like meaning?
Probably what you've changed in the industry, or what you changed about their company. So you mentioned, the goal of the role is to make agencies profitable, right? So let's say for example, in 10 years down the line, Astravue shuts down or Astravue gets acquired. We'll put it this way: Astravue gets acquired. We'll end it on a positive note. Astravue gets acquired, but you for a fact know that they are going to rip off few features and put it inside their software. You are writing a final piece of letter to all your customers and employees and everyone. So what Astravue changed in this world?
No, Astraview changed. Like as always used
Yeah.
to say, we have actually helped you to
Mm.
look at the profit,
Mm.
and we still, even though like we as a organization may, like we as a tool may not exist right now,
Mm.
but we'll continue to
Mm.
still share you, like give you the insight of how
Yeah.
your profit is going to be, how
Mm.
you're going to manage your profit. We are going to still share that insight,
Mm.
and with that great vision, we are just getting acquired with another tool which will
Yes.
actually help you to do this.
Mm.
Actually, that is how I would end the note. That's how I can imagine right now. It's a very hard question, but yeah,
Mm.
I think I answered your question there.
We have showed you the way where you make money, or we have showed you where you make money
Where you can make money or where you can make profit,
to make profit.
and we'll still continue to show you, but
Yes.
we wanted to take it to a larger audience.
Yeah.
Actually,
See,
that's all.
one thing that constantly across all the eight slides is that one thing that constantly popped up is this word profit, or profit, right? So I think we've used the word profit more than 1,000 times in this conversation,
Exactly.
and that should be your main selling point. Any single landing page, any single page, or any single line that you sell Astravue, it should always be accompanied with the word profit. Astravue's goal is to make your agency profitable.
Exactly.
So that word of profit, in some way or the other, profit should always be associated with Astravue, because a lot of project management tools don't associate themselves with profit. And one more thing is, they don't know how to. They don't know if the agency is making money or if the company is making money. They don't know what goes on behind that. But this is basically Astravue's selling point is that we are focused on helping you become profitable, because you're calculating your money and everything. So that should be your major selling point. So there is a exercise that we do. Uh, if you can associate one word yourself or one word to the brand for the rest of your life, what would you choose? For me, I think Astravue is profitable.
Profitable.
Profitable. For stupid pun, it's obviously there in the company itself. Stupidity. I've chosen it. So I clearly know that profitable, or positioning this company around profitability is what makes Astravue separate. There is two different strategies whenever you build a company. One is called red ocean strategy, and one more is called blue ocean strategy. Blue ocean strategy is basically finding your own space in a crowded market. Let's say, for example, there are 9 companies doing something, you become the 10th company that does it. The red ocean strategy is something that you do different. There are 9 companies doing something, you don't become the 10th company. You are a company that opens up a new market and does something separately, right? That is why when we initially started this conversation as well, I told you Astravue is a project management tool only for service businesses or only for agency businesses. When you start doing that, you're the only player there.
Exactly.
You're only player there because I'm a user. I won't go on Google productivity tools. I'll I'll probably go on Google productivity tools for service business or for web development agencies or for design agencies. This is what I'll go Google. But none of the companies position themselves as this. When Astravue positions itself as the one tool for any agency-based businesses, you can imagine the amount of trust. You can imagine the amount of you know the customer, the kind of customers that you'll get. And one more added advantage is that instead of putting random logos in the website, people who are using our product, let's say for example, I'm a service industry, I'll probably know the other service-based business or other agency businesses in my city or my country. When you put a service-based business logo in the website itself, I'm convinced,
Exactly.
right? Because a competitor or a friend of mine is already using that, so I'm convinced. So this is something that you can do, and this is what makes Astravue stand out. right? So this is how you invent your own market instead of, because as we spoke, this is an $8 billion market. Project management tools is an $8 billion market, and it has lot of competitions. It's not like it's easy to even kill one product. And to be honest, we don't even know in our lifetime will we be able to replace one of those products. But what we can definitely do is that invent an own market for ourselves, take a chunk of it, make it as a separate market, and do it for ourselves. That is what we can do.
And that is what I believe we are doing
Yeah,
right now.
you're already doing that. But one more thing is that you have to be more vocal about it.
Vocal about it.
That is what I'm trying to say. It's not like you're not doing anything, you're doing the exact same thing, but be more vocal about it.
Yeah.
Right? From the product, from the website, everything should be screaming this right away. We are a project management tool focused on service-based businesses, which makes you profitable. And with the subline that says 18% of agencies become cash flow positive or whatever that is, you put a number, a clear number based on real data to convince the user. That is how it should be, right? So how it all started, we've already mentioned about the story, how it all started. You basically, I think I know the story, but yeah, it will sound better coming from you.
No, I think like a few minutes back we spoke about that.
Hmm.
So initially, I wanted to be more of the one-stop solution for all internal communication because in the initial days, right, when I was working with my previous organization, we had different tools. Like you had the chat for the communication, you had a tool like CRM tool or a project management tool. Or a help desk tool for your communication, collaboration work between among yourself as well as with your customers. So, and then you have a separate wiki page for all your documents. So it is all information are all scattered. Now, like imagine I was there in a meeting. Like the idea of the spark movement was, uh, we go to a meeting, right? Like when we go into a meeting, we discuss a lot of things, and we come up with one. We go with an agenda, and then we come up with one action item. Maybe one action item with multiple tasks in it. Actually. This is how it is, and then the next meeting is scheduled for. There is a notes that we all take it. We just come back, and the next week, sometimes the meeting happens on time, and sometimes like the same number of, like, even if it happens on time, you see a few members getting missed in a corporate environment, and then you start going into the, like, or maybe it gets postponed. Now after a couple of times, this particular goal goes to the backstage. Nobody doesn't talks about it. And maybe after a couple of weeks, actually, or 3-4 weeks later, the business owner or the project leader or the admin or the CXO guy will all of a sudden remember this, what exactly happened to the action item that we spoke about 3 weeks later. Now everyone goes and looks for the notepad, they look for their email. There is a minutes of meeting that comes in, but then there is nothing properly shared. They will, so immediately they will form a group in Slack or in Teams. Then they will put all the pointers there, and then after after the 4 weeks later, the channel goes somewhere hidden, actually, because since it has been inactive for quite a long time, and information is lost. Which means that, like, either we have to focus on that or not is something that I was worried about. And not every task, the first task is not always a priority task, and the last task is not the least task, actually. So people also misunderstand that particular part.
Okay.
So this is where, so information was scattered. So I wanted to bring it everything under one umbrella. And that is how I started. I wanted to build it. But as I told you, like, was a little late in the building aspect of it because of the COVID, and hiring was a little difficult for me. So I'm not going to give you excuses on that. It was because of my inability, like we were not able to take that action. So I was not able to take a bold couple of steps forward to do any actions. Now, after like an 18 months back, so we decided, like, I built the basic tool of productivity tool. Then during the 3 years, I found it, like, even before COVID, I was working for a service company. So considering all my experience in the last 6 years or 7 years in service industry, I found out that this is an area where we leak money, like the business leaks money in with respect to profit. Like, they know the revenue part. Sometimes they don't even make revenue. Many of them doesn't know about it, actually. They only when they do the analysis, maybe like towards the end of the financial year, then they will find out, okay, now that is where the sacking part comes in.
Yes.
People are sacked because they find out that this person is he's not doing the right thing. So why did you spend so much time for him for like last 6 months? Then you find out that this particular business, like you take a business thinking that he's a big brand, but he is actually the most
Yep.
the tough customers you have handled it. So they don't get the idea at all. And then we decided, okay, now let's not do any more of that particular. I had a vision, but I was not able to continue because already there were a lot of players in it. So how do I stand out? And that is when I decided, okay, let's actually focus only on the profitability for service agencies
Yes.
who actually doesn't have a clear idea about it. From the day of scoping to the day of delivery, they need to have an entire insight of this particular project
Yes.
with profitability everywhere about it.
Yep. So this is a very powerful mission, or the founder story. This is a very powerful founder story, right? I did my best to put it in a document, so not going to read it out loud, so that not gonna read it out loud. But the thing is that the reason why this is important for people watching and for your understanding as well is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This is a famous quote by Simon Sinek, a very famous author.
Yeah.
So they want to know the why or the reason behind why this company exists. This might fade away when you become a very huge $1 billion company. This might fade away because user might not care, because it has been socially accepted by everyone that it is okay to use Astravue and everything. But initially, whenever a company starts very small, there should be a strong reason why the company exists. Because let's say, for example, I'll give you a very simple scenario. Let's say Nike, whenever they started, they were a very small company, right? You've seen this movie Air.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It's Matt Damon movie, but I didn't have a chance to see it.
But yeah, the movie is that how Nike convinced Michael Jordan to sign with Nike.
Yeah.
That is the whole movie. In the movie, there is something that that has been talked about. There was no one valid reason that Michael Jordan should have chosen Nike, apart from the fact that they're giving their own sneaker line. But the thing is that even Adidas said the same thing. We'll give you your own sneaker line after a couple of years. When you start becoming a very big player in the NBA, we'll give you your own sneaker line. That was the accepted norm. But what Nike did was that bold risk, because Nike is meant for certain principles, right? And they changed the way an athlete signs a deal with any company, because they're giving a revenue cut. Back in those days, that was not heard of. That was not heard of. You get a one-time licensing fee for your name, and the company makes money out of it. That is how it has been. It has been for a very long time. But what Nike did was that they changed the game. And that is why whenever you associate Nike or whenever you look into Nike, you think about the fact that you are making a risk. Just because someone wears a Nike, you feel that you understand that they're a rebel. They are something more than just a person. They have a very steady vision. They're very strong. All this kind of aspects pops into you, even though it is very subconscious. All this happens. All this comes to you because they wear that Nike logo with the pride in their chest, right? Nike is not endorsing them. Basically, they're paying money to put a logo on your chest, right? But that is how a company should be built on. Because when you become a huge company like that, all this, this vibe, this concept, this philosophy is what will bring you a lot of recurring customers, right? So yeah, so
No, I think to add it to that, the why should not be not from the beginning. It should be the core that has to be in every meeting, in every topic,
Yep.
in every email that
Yep.
you do. It has to be message, because
yes,
even now, if you look right, like just do it is one thing that you would always see that
yeah,
message for Nike. Wherever you go, like they may take you to take that risk. Like don't procrastinate or
yeah,
be the change in what you do.
Hmm.
We take the bold risk to support on certain things, right? Like that is the message that you has to come.
Hmm.
And because there is always a why part, because this why defines who we are.
Hmm.
That is how like people like an employees will associate who I am because I work for Nike, and
Yeah.
that why part is understood by every employee within the organization. Only then there is like like people stick to it. The people, that's why I'm saying about the employee experience. It has to be throughout the message. People who believe in your why will stick to you, and you can all drive in the same
Yeah.
direction. People who doesn't believe in your why, even if you hire just for the fancy stuff, they are not going to
Yeah.
stick with you, and you are going to be
Exactly.
one of the reasons.
Yeah. Before moving forward, one more point that I want to mention is that a lot of people ignore this when it comes to branding, is that they don't realize how important branding is to retain a team. Any company that has a very good branding, any company that is very not popular, company that is very proud, a company that has a very strong mission statement, they're able to retain employees for a very long time. The reason is because, as you mentioned, they have a very strong why. why the company is doing this, because I'm not just tied to the money, I'm not just tied to my position or the product that I'm building. I'm tied to vision, a long term vision, probably 10 years in the future, is going to change the way something is being done in the industry, right? So let's say, for example, if Astravue's philosophy of profitability first for service-based businesses becomes mainstream, let's say, for example, you publish a white paper regarding how a project management tool should be built, every single employee will feel proud that they've changed the way service-based businesses calculates projects, because that is giving lives to millions and millions of people, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, if 1,000 service-based businesses are using Astravue, 1,000 paying customers, and each customer has like 15, 20 different employees. Imagine the amount of people you're impacting. Imagine the amount of families that you're impacting. So when an employee understands all this stuff, it's really hard for him to let go from this company. So that is why a strong why is always necessary, even for internal branding as well.
Oh, true. Because this is one of the reasons why even like though I'm not, uh, I've come out of Zoho like a
Mm.
decade back, almost like yeah, exactly this month.
Mm.
Last decade, I think I came out of Zoho. May
Okay.
2015 was the date
Okay.
that I moved out
Mm.
from Zoho. But still, my association with them was still long.
Mm.
Even if I asked that, what is a company, what is a dream
Mm.
company that you wanted to be still there,
Mm.
I would say like Zoho, because like I used to say, like the point is like they are not high paying, they don't have all the fancy stuff there. Now I'm not talking about right now, I'm talking about the way
10,
back.
15 years ago, yeah.
They were a company that were kind of rebellious in the way like they were challenging the leaders in the market globally, like coming from a small like putting Chennai in the world map like for SaaS, and going to the targeting like global players like Salesforce and ServiceNow and all, uh, with all the tier two like people coming out from tier two, tier three colleges. That is where they stood out completely, and
Yeah.
the way they supported us from day one, like we are on a mission to challenge the global market, but it's not that we want brilliant minds only from the top
Global
tier,
market, yeah,
no,
top
the
tier.
top tier colleges.
Mm.
It's we will build something with people
Mm.
who are like who have the talent, who believe in our idea, follow us.
Yeah.
And I believe like now all the people who are sitting in the top level positions there have actually believed in that idea, and they have been still there. Even my brother who joined along with me, maybe 3 months later he joined. He is still there for almost 20 years because he still believes in that vision,
Yeah.
right? So this is the biggest takeaway from that, because that why part is very important. And it's not about the perks, it's not about the salary, it's about who we are, what we are, and how we are going to take it to the external world. That's how I believe.
Nice.
If you believe in that why and your messages carries the why everywhere, then I believe automatically the branding will also come automatically within the company, and it also starts spreading to the customers also.
Yes. Yeah. That is
It's
very
my
well
opinion.
put. Yeah, that is very well put. Yeah. That is what I was basically going to say. So yes. So now the why is decided, why we are doing this is decided. Now let's think from the customer's point of view. Why choose us? See, there may be a lot of reasons why a customer chooses you, but there should be a few distinct value props or distinct reasons why a customer chooses us, right? Uh, I'll give you a small example. Let's take Astravue. Astravue is very transparent on their pricing or very transparent on their salaries, or just the word transparent. Astravue is focused on profitability. Words like this, 3 to 5 words that reflects the brand's values.
No, one is the simplicity.
Simplicity.
We are very tied up. Simplicity is the underlying message we carry towards. We are very careful in our every design, saying that the moment, like even before this particular meeting that I came in, we are talking about a small lock icon, talking about a private task.
Yes.
That now, is it confusing the customer? Is it like yeah, I know my customers are only like the few thousands now, but even for the few thousands, we are very careful about what they get it actually. So this is the simplicity we are talking about. We wanted to make sure that this is they have to feel that the moment I jump in, I should not have someone like an onboarding specialist coming and guiding you. They should be able to see what they should be able to easily understand. The tool has to guide you, and it has to take you. And we wanted to say by in a short, in fact, we want to take pride in saying that you can create a first project within 15 minutes of time of onboarding. Like you create the entire task, project, everything within 15 minutes of signing up to the application. That's how we are aiming for actually. In fact, we wanted to bring it from 15 minutes to 10 minutes without any tooltip, without anything. No, I think tooltips all will come in picture, but at the moment, because our target audience is as simple as that. Like they should not feel confused if they're moving from Excel sheet to Astravue. If they're moving from another tool to here, the learning curve should be less. It should be straightforward. They should be going for the profitability from day one.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Right.
So this is the simplicity part that I would say.
Yeah.
Then the other part, like in fact, I was about to like Radha has been saying me to put it in LinkedIn and actually Twitter for quite a long time. Like maybe now when I say long time, for 2 weeks of time. Uh, Pricing now, most of them are transparent, so I'm not going to talk about that kind of pricing, but we are very transparent in what we are building actually. So basically, if you look right now, there is a feedback like that to track what is the releases that have come out. We take pain in sharing it out to everyone. That's for the first thing. We also it's a feedback form. It's called pulse.astravue.com. So we tell you what we are building right now, what is there in our roadmap, and we are ready to take you to that. Like we are ready to listen to your features, and we will start building it on it. Okay. It is published, it is available. We want everyone to see it because they should know what is being planned. Only then they can know that okay, I can believe this company because they are aligned with my thought process. This is the transparency part that I also talk, and I'm transparent about saying that this is also like I was building a gamification dashboard which I wanted to bring in, basically to promote for the project admins, not for teams right now. At least for the project admins, they need to know who's actually performing very well, who's the top player in the market. Like we wanted to build it, so we shared this. We want to take input, and that is how we are building it. So that is the transparency part that we are talking about. Okay. And I'm sure the integrity part is also covered in it because we do what we commit for. It's just like the moment we talk to you, generally we don't commit straight away. The moment we commit, we will be very clear with our statement saying that we will give you on certain X amount of time. Maybe there might be a few days of delay, but we will definitely bring it. So that is the commitment that we have towards them actually. So okay. This is the brand that I will take. And then it's not like trust is another factor. So that's very important. In fact, that will be the first one that I used to say. I've been that way for a long time. I always believe everyone, I trust everyone by default. The reason is like everyone comes with, like I believe in a company. Like if they're going to cheat me, that's absolutely fine because maybe like they would have actually cheated me, but it's not they're cheating me. It's just that they are going to cheat themselves actually. So I always believe in that. So within the organization, so people know that I trust them by default, and that is automatically reflected to me. Like they don't tell me, like even if they want to take, say, like they are going out. Like the other day, like I would put it in a very funny way actually. Like it was funny incident. I was sitting there, and my designer was sitting next to me, and this guy, front-end developer, came to me, and he said I wanted to take leave. So he was explaining that he wanted to take a break. I said, "What is there anything wrong? Do you want to go home?" Actually, he said, "Like my girlfriend is coming, so we are taking a break." Actually, no, that openness gives it. Like the reason is I trust him, and I took it in a very fun. I thought something like his sister marriage is coming next on June 8th actually. So I thought he was going for some shopping or that. Okay. But the answer came as an ultimate.
You would have told that as well, and you would have believed it.
But he said like I have to spend my time with my girlfriend, so I'm taking off, and I was quite okay with it because see now he knows it, and it's a quality time that he's expecting. So I said okay, go and have a good time. So that kind of confidence is built. So this is a trust that I wanted to, and the moment I build this trust internally, I also build the trust. I also have my trust with my customers. So whatever they say, like I will definitely take that as an input. Like I always trust them, and I always believe them that they are going to be the for the product to become a legacy. Without them, it is not going to happen. Yeah. So I trust them by default on this factor. So trust is one aspect that I talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe I think
we've covered 5. I think that is more than sufficient. Yeah. So just to summarize whatever you said, so one is trust, and the product is very simple. and the company is very transparent, and you're focused on gamifying the internal team, and it is all built on integrity. So these are the few 5 words that you mentioned, that is your brand value. So that's for people watching. Just to give you a short context, just because Ramesh, says all these 5 words from on top of his head doesn't mean that it will come naturally to you as well. It will take a lot of time, lot of iterations, because when Ramesh spoke, you understood that he's been with Zoho for 10 years, and it's been 10 years since he quit. So you can understand how big of an experience he has in project management or being a manager, or understanding how internal team functions. So when you don't have this kind of experience, you will definitely need a mentor or guide to guide you through this, and that is why the course exists. So we'll help you how to arrive at this kind of words as well, because people, whenever they're looking at certain videos, they understand that okay, this will also come to them naturally, but it won't. It won't, because even for me, if initially, like few years ago, if you asked me if I can do this for stupid fun, it was really hard for me, because I had nowhere close to your years of experience, right? All this comes only with experience. This cannot be taught by any chat GPT or any AI agent or any course as well. This only comes with experience. But when you have a mentor who knows this kind of stuff, he can trigger you with certain ideas or certain lines so that you can understand how to arrive at this conclusion. So yeah,
Exactly.
that is with my course pitch. And coming back to the next point, so the unspoken truth. So this is very important for a business, right? So this is basically just to give you an edge over the market. You can choose to ignore this as well, but there is always something that this new company wants to kill, or something that is unspoken in the industry that you want to disrupt. Certain things are kept very secretly, which are not let out publicly, but you want to do that publicly. That is kind of an unspoken truth. To give you an example, till date, the reason why a lot of brand strategy video doesn't exist online is because one thing, it is not very structured or polished, and one more thing is that a lot of consultants, a lot of brand strategists don't want to reveal this publicly, because they can't charge a premium if you give this stuff publicly. But my understanding is different. I know that people can still charge more, because when they watch this 3 hour video or 4 hour long video, then they come to me saying, I want to do a brand strategy for your business. They will already have a very clear understanding about what brand strategy is. So it is really easy for me to converse with them. But a lot of people don't do this. So this is my unspoken truth about the industry. So what is that according to you in terms of project management or productivity per se?
Interesting part.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, there is no pressure. You don't have to attack any companies or any ideas. You can just ignore it as well.
no, I see. It's not like attacking anyone. Like, see, there
Yeah.
is no point in each one have built on their own vision, on they have everyone have their own path. It's not like something that different. See, the this is the unspoken truth, because like even if you talk, like I was talking again, we are using this word profitability again, or the revenue part which I'm talking about. Like, see, if you look right, if you search for the keywords of profitability and project management in the entire market, if you search for those words, it is never, you will not, I will be like, I can start listing, I can easily become the number one player on that actually, all the SEO rankings I'm talking about, because people doesn't talk about it. They try
Yeah.
to sell you, you you focus on drill your employees to make them productive, and they don't talk about the revenue part. They don't talk about what is happening to them, because so you only drill about talking only about make your employees productive, make your employees productive, make your employees productive, and the employees doesn't understand what productive is actually at the
Yes.
end of the day. Okay, right? So that is something that I don't wanted to get into it. So I always try to avoid the word productivity, because it's a very I wouldn't say like, for me, like I don't feel productive. Employees will become productive. What is productivity is something that has to be very clearly defined. Is it a smart work you're talking about? Is it hard work? Like
Yeah.
see, in this industry, like you talk about the number of hours clocked, right? That is actually completely true, untrue of me.
Yes.
If you're an expert, and if I'm able to give it, you don't need to put 10 hours and say $300. You can say 2-3 hours. We'll give you $300 or
Yeah.
$250. Whatever that is, nobody's going to
Yes.
talk about it. Unfortunately, in the name of productivity, we are talking about long hours,
Yes.
and
15, 20 hours to complete a
putting a lot of
project.
hard
Yeah.
work. So this is not the right productivity that we are talking about. It's about the productivity in this industry should be talking about how to make them smart and get things done for delivering to the customer at a faster pace.
Okay.
That is what your productivity should be there. But this is something that I feel that the word productivity in the entire industry, not only in this industry, the
Mm.
word itself is completely misunderstood. So that is something that is an unspoken truth that I always
Yes.
used to say.
So I put it in a very concise term. So you are basically drilling your employees to make them productive, but you should actually be worried where you are actually making profit. So that is what the company should be worried. I'll give you a small, just to give you a personal connection to this as well. I told you the fact that Astravue should focus on the word profitability, and the whole concept should be making agencies profitable. So let's say, for example, even if I sit with you for 10 hours and at the end give you this answer, you will be happy. But from my experience, I know that within the first 30 to 25 minutes to 30 minutes of the conversation, I understood that this is what the company should be focused on. And there is no shame in me saying that, okay, this is the answer that you're looking for, but you have to do the whole thing because this will help you in a lot of other areas. But yeah, this is going to be the final answer anyway. You'll be happily, more than happy to give me the money that I charged you for. Right? That should be everyone's approach.
Exactly.
Just because I cracked it in 2 hours or 2 minutes doesn't mean that it's not valuable. There's this famous story, right? There's a mechanic, a ship has been there in the docks for a long time. A lot of mechanics come and try, they don't have any luck. But then there comes one mechanic, he touches the ship for a couple of minutes, just takes his hammer and taps once, and the ship starts running. And after a few days, he sends a bill saying that it's $2,000. The ship captain feels like he calls this guy and asks mechanic and asks, okay, you just did for one small thing, you just tapped once and you're charging $2,000. Why? He'll give a very simple answer. $1,998, sorry, $2 for tapping the ship, and $1,998 for knowing where to tap.
Exactly.
That is basically the expertise. It is not the amount of hours, it is what you can do with your expertise, right? So that should be what the company should be worried about, not the amount of hours they are working on, right? So moving forward from there, so where we play, so that is basically, we've already know that this is service based businesses, service based or agency businesses that have roughly 15 to 50 employees, right?
Yeah.
Employees in New York, San Francisco, another one was Dallas, right? So this is what we are going to do, this is where we are going to play, right? So then there comes an audience persona. We don't have to get into detailed as well, because we know that we'll majorly be targeting product managers or founders per se, small business owners, because agencies won't have product managers, they'll have project managers, right? We'll either be focusing on project manager or the founder. But the thing is that you have an ideal ICP because you're already making money. So I know that you're already having an ICP. Maybe we'll fill this out on the back end of this video, and so that we'll have a final output. But for people watching, it is very important to put all your research, all your talking, all your time into this, because I know Ramesh has spoken to a lot of customers before analyzing or understanding that, okay, we are meant for service-based businesses. It's not like he randomly woke up one day and understood that this is my ideal customer profile, and this is someone who I should be targeting. And there is a lot of method and strategies on how to understand your audience and do all this kind of stuff as well. And one more thing, that is what we teach inside the course as well. So just leave it there, because you're already making money, so we don't have to worry about this too much. So we'll just put it in a very small manner. So one is founders of the agency. Founders of the agency is one thing, and one more thing is project managers of agencies.
Yeah.
In agency, right? So one thing we do is that, what the course has specifically is that I just want to show this off to you. When we talk about ideal customer persona, most of the time what we do is that we put a name, an age, a city where they live in, their income, and we stop there. So that is very contradicting. You've seen this famous meme, right? A pop singer and a British prince have the same ideal customer persona. 15 to 50 years, 45 to 50 years old, lives in a castle, is from England, uh, has two children. All this is this can be anyone, right? So I drill down to certain more behavioral aspects as well. Let's say, for example, do they take their morning coffee at Starbucks? Do they walk to office? Do they use public transport? Because let's say, for example, if someone is in New York and takes a private car to their office, it means that obviously they're wealthy. If the same person is from New York but rides a bike to their office, it means that they're in a different economical status. All this makes a lot of sense, right? So we try to put their daily behavior, their context, their goals, what kind of content they consume, all this kind of areas. So I would suggest you do the same thing as well.
Yeah. No, no, I
A
think
behavioral pattern for all your ideal customer profile.
yeah, this is something that, like as you rightly said, I have stopped with only the age, the educations, and
Yes.
what they do, the experience.
Yes.
But yeah, surprisingly, you're the second person, like someone also, like not this one, like I was randomly talking to someone, and
Mm.
during that particular time, they also they told me like you have to walk through their life.
Yeah.
Like on the like when I say the life, I'm talking about the daily
Mm. Daily routine.
the daily routine from morning 8 till the say for 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, like what they do.
Mm.
So if you are able to understand that, then you will be able to find out the areas where you can easily start positioning as yourself into that particular
Yeah.
part. Actually, it's selling
Mm.
is also easier. Like not I'm talking about the branding
Yeah,
part. Like
yeah.
I was talking about with respect to sales.
I
Actually,
mean, the whole point of branding is to
sales,
generate you sales, right? So the whole point of branding is to do that. So
sales.
it is okay to think about sales because that is the whole part, right? So whenever you have time, sit on this. Understand their ideal customer profile, what they do on a day-to-day basis, what are their behavioral patterns, what is something that you can do to, target them. So one thing interesting that I wrote down when we spoke before, which I skipped, is that, let's say for example, they take coffees every single morning. There's a couple of lines that you can include inside the website itself. So the reason why we're talking about, finding the habits and behavioral pattern of certain customer personas, that so that we can target campaigns exclusively or targeted towards them. I'll give you a small example how we can do this. Let's say for example, that particular person or your founder has a coffee drinking habit, and you mentioned one of your features is that it takes 15 to 10 minutes to onboard into your, or create your first project inside Astravue, right?
Mm.
So one thing that you can do in your messaging is that finish your first project before you finish your latte.
Okay.
Something like this will definitely work on them because they know that instead of associating it with 15-20 minutes of time, let's say for example they take a latte which takes obviously 10 to 15 minutes, they can finish up a project before they complete a latte. So this sounds very simple for them because coffee drinking is a very natural task to them and it's a very simple process that they go through every single day. When you say that they can do it in a very short span of time, they'll be obviously be tempted to at least try out the product, right?
Exactly.
So this is one of the more important reasons why you should exactly target their behavior, their patterns, what they like, what they don't like. So this is all very helpful when you're building a very huge ICP. Let's say for example 4 or 5 different kind of people, because right now you may target only service based agency owners, but in the future you'll definitely want a lot more people because 1,000 paying customers is not enough, right? So this all will come in handy when you start segmenting based on their behavioral patterns, what they do, what they like, what they don't like, all those
Mm.
kind of stuff. So the reason why a lot of viral videos or hooks work is because they associate it with movies, right? If I'm an avid movie watcher, uh, we both are huge Rajnikant fans, right? So whenever someone gives me an analogy with Rajnikant, it tends to stick with me longer than it usually does. So this is something that you can also target for ICP as well.
Mm.
So this is the reason why I'm suggesting to go deep down on all your ICPs.
Yeah, so this is no, that makes sense to me
Hmm.
because like looking into it, especially like people who are the freelancers and all,
Hmm.
right? Like they will be predominantly they say they hang out in the cafe, and not only
Hmm.
them, like also the other lot of solopreneurs who hang out in the cafe. For them, like we can do certain target marketing efforts on
Yeah.
them based on certain behaviors.
Hmm.
Like again, like say for example, project members, like they struggle with tools.
Hmm.
Now, if we are able to show them that you can clock your time by
Hmm.
going into the mobile and finishing it off,
Yeah.
then that is going to be a game changer for them, right? Like you
Definitely.
have to show them, remove the boring stuff out of it,
Yes.
and understand what is boring for them in the daily life or what is exciting. Take two
Hmm.
extremes and
Yeah.
then play around that. Okay, yeah, that's a good
Exactly.
point. I think I'll start exploring on this, which is
Nice.
this has never struck my mind actually.
Okay. So as we go into this behavior, there comes the concept of category entry points. So this is basically, when do people want what we offer? That is the basic question. To put it very simply, we'll take Tide as an example. Tide, the detergent washing powder. Tide's major ads is around kids playing in the mud and getting dirty and using Tide to clean it, right? So every mother's major pain point is that every mother, whenever there's a white innovate in school, the evening the mother will be worried, how am I going to wash this? So Tide exactly did that. So that is the category entry point. Whenever your kid comes home from school wearing a dirty uniform, you remember Tide. So that is called a category entry point, and that is what we're going to do for Astravue specifically as well. When I want to think about Astravue, so when I want to, this can be a scenario. So this can be a situation, this can be scenario, this can be 3 or 4 different scenarios, right? So let's start with something very simple. One is that whenever an agency is worried about whether they're making profit or not, this is one scenario. But I want you to give me 2 or 3 scenarios that you think Astraview will be really helpful for.
Yeah, see, one part is the two parts I would take. One is the communication part. So, what the communication part is predominantly, say, for example, you have to see project admins wanted to get immediate updates. Like that's not only project admins, I would say it's a managerial behavior, right? Like, if I know or the business owner's problem, right? Like, if I want an answer, I need the answer in the next 5 minutes because they don't have that. If I do something, I just wanted to get an answer because I might be in a meeting or there is an immediate thing that I have to send it out. So my urgency is always going to be on the higher side, actually, right? So now in this particular point, like what do you call it? Like the communication is very important. Saying that, so I sent a message in about a task or about a project in the group. Like I need to get it immediately into my web app or the mobile app. So there should be some kind of push notification on that. That is what we are working on the mobile app, and that is one of the predominant focus because as soon as you give an update, that has to be also the other side. If someone who's actually pinging me, what is like we segregated into notifications and mentions. So if someone is mentioning me, that needs to be the priority for them because they are targeting specifically to you, asking them what is that. So this is one thing that we are focusing. So this is one aspect of the situation I'm talking about. The other situation is about the time track. So here I would take project members. See, the other aspect is both the project admin or the business owner and the project members. The other part is the employees who's working on that actually. There may be a designer or a front-end developer or a Flutter developer, whoever it is. They have to track how much time they worked. Right. So that is one thing. So that particular time tracking is important because this is again related to the project delivery because time tracking is always very key. Like what is the billable and non-billable hours needs to be tracked, and that needs to be also exposed to the guest users. Right. So this is one part that we need to be very clear, and time tracking should be made easier for the project members because they are only because their time tracking will actually put food on the table.
Yes.
So that is one part. And another scenario that I would also give it is, like as I said earlier in the beginning, like you sound professional or your customers wanted to keep a track of what tool you're using and how are you tracking it. Because when you say I'm using Excel, nobody's going to see you as a serious player.
Yes.
The moment you say that I have a tool on which I keep an entire I have an eagle eye view on the entire project, and if you want, I can also give you access to you to see what is exactly happening, and you can also put your comments. Then that makes a big difference, and that is how we have to target even the guest users. Maybe like an email notification that goes out or a login portal, something like that. That is the message that I'm talking about. So these are the 3-4 messages that I'm thinking in this aspect. The entry point would be this.
Yeah, nice. So I just put it down whatever the 4 points that you mentioned. So one is that when the agency wants to track their profitability, they want to know where they're making money. Second is that when the agency wants clear communication during urgency, period of urgency, because most of the time, as you mentioned, they'll be in a meeting, but the project manager will want an update on certain things. So that is sometimes when Astravue will definitely come in place. Even let's say for example you're doing a video ad, this can be in the video ad. Like 4 or 5 different people are inside a boardroom meeting, they're talking with the client. Obviously this project manager cannot go on and pull out a resource to ask for this update. You're obviously texting him and he's not responding, but you come and look in Astravue or the project management software that they're using, and there is the answer. That means that the product is working. Exactly. This is something that you can do for a visual ad as well, right? So this is the second pain point. The third comes is that when the agency owners don't know where the resources time are being allocated, what happens when you grow to a certain level is that you don't exactly know what these people are doing. Because a lot of huge companies, even a small scale companies, have a lot of dead weight, right? For a company that is the size of 20 people, if one employee, one full-time employee is considered as a dead weight, that actually frees up at least a few $1,000s every single month, right? That is really important for any businesses. So they want to exactly track how the resources are being allocated so that they can know, okay, whoever is free whom can we allocate a little bit more projects for, or whom we can take the workload off, all the stuff that the agency can do. This is the third scenario. And the fourth scenario is that when you want to give your customers an eagle eye view of the project, that is a really nice word, eagle eye view of the project, right? So this is something that you've been mentioning from the start. If I'm using a professional dashboard or professional tool to track the whole software, obviously the opinion of the client on me or on the way that I do business will definitely be different, because they'll understand that I'm a very organized person. I know what I'm doing about. There is goals that are being set. There are stuff that have been checked out. I can leave comments on whatever that they're doing on. So all this stuff, this definitely improves client relationship as well. So that is one thing. When I want to give an eagle eye view to the client as well, as you mentioned, you are working on a few more features, like restricted tasks, certain tasks client doesn't have to see, certain stuff only the internal team can see. All this kind of stuff will add more layer to the software, so that it feels like one portal or one page that the user can log into every single day to view his entire workload. That doesn't have to be an email, that doesn't have to be a calendar, all those kind of stuff. So like one portal, a dashboard, one unified dashboard where everything is there. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, I'm an employee today, I'm a developer today. Today when I come in and log in, I understand that there's let's say, for example, project XYZ. Still three or four more hours of my task is pending. I can just go and do that. It's as simple as that, right? So this is something, a few common situations where we can get into, specifically for Astravue. So this is the category entry points. The reason why this is important is because of the messaging and advertisements or the visual ads that you're going to do. As I mentioned, all this can be depicted as video ads as well. All this can be written as scenarios as well. All this can be written as landing page taglines as well. So that is why this is very important.
Got it.
Right?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I was working on the video. Now, after I think I should have done this 1 week before, because I was struggling for some ideas. But now these are very pointed, straightforward questions, because like you need to be, when you prepare a video for your for your marketing efforts, and you're paying for that, which means that you need to know how I'm going to, like, who's
Exactly.
the entry, what is the pain point that you're solving. That message should be there at the top. And then while you talk on this, like, the one thing that I always used to say is, like, don't talk about, I never put feature pages as such actually. But instead it should be, I think I'm going to put more of a journey page actually. More than features, it should be journeys. So take one particular journey saying that how this solves the customer, how you can sound professional in front of the customer. Now you talk about guests can log in, then you can talk about the dashboards they can do, and what with that permissions what they can do. I can just put one story and then put it as a page, rather than talking about, because feature is, you tell this is a feature and then you explain the journey. Instead of that, you share the journey, so that as soon as they read, okay, now that will intrigue him to what feature supports to achieve this journey, right? So that is the way I think I should start messaging the entire page on that.
See, one more pioneer and example of this is basically Steve Jobs. Instead of marketing, 1 GB or 10 GB storage in your iPod, he put it in very simple terms: 5,000 songs in your pocket, right? That is the feature. That is the actual feature. I can listen to 5,000 songs anytime at any given point of time. So that should be your messaging. The same thing goes as well.
Got it.
So yeah. Then we come to the part of positioning. So, okay, we have a brand, we have a product, we have a basic understanding of who our ideal customers are. We know what their certain behavioral aspects or behavioral patterns are, what their pain points are, how we can target them, and everything. Now comes the positioning. So this is probably a little bit detailed concept, but we'll try to keep it a little bit short as well, because the more deep we go into it, the longer this will take. So I'll give you a small example. Okay, so there's a one-liner formula that not I've devised it. This is a very widely accepted formula for this brand positioning as well. My brand is the only brand in a category that has a unique promise for this kind of audience. Okay, this is the basic one-liner formula. Okay, so I put an example for the stupid punner as well, so that it's easier for you to understand. Stupid punner is the only brand building playground where weird ideas are welcome, jargons get roasted, and strategy actually makes sense for founders and freelancers who hate boring business advice.
Wow.
This is for stupid punner. So this is something that we need to come up for Astravue as well.
Got it.
So we will try to do this. Okay. So Astravue is the only. What is Astravue? What company is Astravue? Agency-based project management tool.
Yeah.
Or service-based.
Yeah, only professional service.
Professional service-based project management tool. professional service based project management tool where
I would say simplicity is at the core.
where it is at its core.
Collaboration as its true engine.
Collaboration is true engine.
And
Hmm.
delivering promises to the customer.
And delivering promises.
Customers on time.
This is made for
Yeah, like as I told you, it's in the beginning. Like, so for
okay.
agencies like for agencies such as IT, branding,
Okay.
marketing, and so on.
For service agencies.
For service agencies.
For service agencies. Okay. So we have a very overline view of it. I have a couple of improvements that I want to suggest. So one thing is that Astravue is the only professional service-based project management tool where simplicity is at its core and collaboration is its true engine. And delivering promises to the customer on time is something that I would leave off the positioning statement because that is something very basic that every company should do. And if they need a tool or a software to do that, it means they're failing as an agency, they're failing as a business, right? Their internal SOPs or their manager is failing. That is not a problem of any tool or software.
Good.
So I would suggest having it collaboration as a true engine for service agencies, right? Astravue is the only, we'll simplify it much better. It's the only project management tool where simplicity is at its core, and collaboration as its true engine for service agencies. See, the reason why we are doing this is because this once again solidifies to whom you are talking to, right? See, the more broader that you get, that means more money, but yeah, initially you won't find 1,000 paying customers by being very broad. I'm not saying you should stick to only service-based agencies. Initially, when you're trying to find your first 1,000 paying customers, it is always better to stick to one niche. It is always better. See, it depends upon business to business, but if you're a product-based company, for the first 1,000 customers, if you know or have an exact ICP, it is easier for you to scale. Because let's say, for example, you have success in one kind of business based software, it is easier for you to replicate that in another industry. If you do that for a service-based business, then it's easier for you to do on an enterprise scale level, right? Then you can go and compete with Jira. Then you can do all those kind of stuff. So initially, we can find out a way where there is nothing specific. We basically cracked a new market because there's no tool specific for the service-based agencies. So our focus is on simplicity and collaboration. So this is what you're focusing on, and this is the brand positioning of Astravue as well.
Exactly.
Right? So
no, I think that makes sense actually. If you're starting when you talk about niche, right? Like say for example, take your Dindigul Talapakatti biryani as your example. They started only as one niche where they serve good biryanis.
Yes.
That is how they were positioned in the initial stage.
Yeah.
Now it is more of a multi-cuisine restaurant where you get everything. Right?
Yes.
Like once they have different branches, it all. But at the very core, they started with one idea which says that we serve you good biryani.
Yep.
Which is on certain aspects like the type of rice and the meat that they use. That is what they promise. Now they have grown into like they have multiple restaurants across the globe, but now they have become a multi-cuisine restaurant.
Yeah.
But that is at the latest stage. So you have to be very clear with the niche because I think that is a very clear message that everyone should understand. Because like if you try to serve it all, you will serve none.
Yes.
That is the simple twist. To begin with, when you begin, don't serve it all. Because this is what initially I was trying to do. But then I have to put a stop on that. Then I have to pick one. Then I have to, now I did a pivot actually. So the journey has been always like move forward, pivot, move forward until the success. The war doesn't end here actually. It's a battle that we're doing, right? Like, so that is how we have to see this. Yes. But nice, I think that's a good brand positioning.
Yes. So see what happens is that even with Dindigul Talapakatti, I feel like they're making a couple of small mistakes. I would actually lose the Chinese dishes that they have, all this fried rice or chicken noodles and all this kind of stuff. If I was someone who's running Dindigul Talapakatti, I'll definitely lose it out because that is probably less than 0.1% of their revenue. Because it is very clearly mentioned in the name that it is Dindigul Talapakati. It is authentic South Indian flavor restaurant. Why bother putting in all this kind of areas? Why bother putting in North Indian dishes, other
Uh,
Chinese dishes?
I think that is where the legacy part is. See, the why part is forgotten. Like,
Yeah.
why you are starting doing it is because we wanted it. If you are talking about chettinad, like the chettinad type of food, you have to stick to that.
Yes.
And there are many varieties that sticks around it. There are many food varieties around that. You stick and grow around that. The only problem is to serve one set of people. Like, they wanted to. Like, as soon as a kid comes in, like, they have to serve like noodles and fried rice or lettuce combo, right, for the kids. They get little deviated and then they become multi cuisine. Then they lose the core part.
Yeah.
And they're not like, ultimately they end up doing like they become a jack of all, actually, right? So that is very critical. Because if you decide to serve for a entire generation, from a kid to the old person, right, like, you can still do it. The only thing
Yes.
is, you have to find out kids that attract menus that you can attract the kids, actually, that you have to focus only with the South Indian area.
Yeah.
That's a problem with many of the industries that I've noticed, actually. The moment you spread across the globe, you start going it, you become, your ideas become, you lose the core, you forget the why. And then nobody understands what is the why part of including the owner forgets about the why part.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the brand, like, then see, that I wanted to bring in a point, like, since we are talking, it immediately struck me, the moment you lose that why part, you will become a brand that can be easily beaten.
Yeah.
Then you don't become a brand, actually, by the way. So if your competitor can come and kill you at that particular moment, you are no more a brand, actually. That is what I would say. That. So yeah, that's something that got stuck.
Yeah. See, that is something every company should look into. The thing is that there are a few concepts or statements that cannot be matched by your competitors, right? And if your why or your positioning gets killed, it is obviously up to you to build it back up. But it doesn't mean that you have to diversify your product. See, the thing is that any other multi-cuisine restaurant can become the Dindigul Talapakati, but there is no restaurant that is specializing in South Indian traditional biryani that can beat Dindigul Talapakati, because I've seen all their ad campaigns. They're all focused on biryani only. But then why bother putting all the other menus in all the other items in the menu, right? That is the question that comes to us. So there is this concept called as onlyness test. There is this concept called as onlyness test. It is basically little bit better version or a refined version of a USP, unique selling point, but only you hold that statement, and forever it will keep changing. I'll give you a small example. Maybe you can take time and do this for Astravue whenever you feel comfortable. So Shashank is the only brand strategist who is an entrepreneur and also has worked as a head of branding for a 150 crore company and also has had an exit. So this statement, the reason why people have to work with me as a brand strategist is because I have been an entrepreneur, so I understand the business struggle. I bootstrapped a company. I've had an exit, so I know how to scale it as well. I've also worked as a head of branding in a major corporation as well, so I know how to do it in large scale as well. So it is really hard for some other brand strategist to come and own this position, right? If someone else comes in, I have to keep adding few more lines to the statement as well.
Understood.
Yeah, so this is something I can do. One more thing I can do is that I am more humorous in the way I approach. I am very unorthodox in the way I approach. These are some things that I can keep adding to my positioning statement. So this is basically the onlyness statement or onlyness test that you may call it. Do this for Astravue as well whenever you get time.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll come to the competitors part, right? So today we're going to pick 3 competitors whom you actually see are a competition to Astravue. 3 businesses. Give me names.
See, the one is obviously Trello,
Trello.
which is focused on all the marketing agencies.
Yes.
The other one is Basecamp.
3.
And the third one is more like Todoist or like any one of them.
Todoist. Okay. Done. So coming to Trello. So in all these 3 competitors, we are going to do one thing. What is their strong zone? What is their weak zone? And how are they different in the market? Right. So what is the strong zone for Trello? It can be one word answers or one line answers.
No, they are under the Atlassian brand. They have been very early in the market. They have this
Early player.
early player, and they are also they focus on the agencies, marketing teams like, within the organization.
Hmm.
They are the core players actually, if I'm right.
Okay. So what is their weakness according to you?
No, I think the weakness is with respect to the features, right? Like not as a Trello as a product, but Atlassian as a brand wants to push users of Trello to move towards Jira, because if you know very clearly, Jira is comes under the Atlassian platform. So when you start wanting to more features for certain aspects of marketing agencies, they are pushed to use Jira. But unfortunately, Jira is more on the for the developers.
Developers, yeah.
Right. So these guys hate it, and they still live with the problem actually on Trello. That's something that I understood from people whom I spoke, and I also saw the features. That's how it was actually.
Yeah. I mean, so we can have it as not aligned upsell.
Yeah.
See, it is okay to have upsells, but yeah, it is not aligned to the people that we are targeting.
targeting.
Right. So how are they different?
No, different in the sense, they're positioned nicely for the price. With the board view, they're as the strongest. They have
their Kanban view or board
the
view?
Kanban view. The board view is really nice for them actually. They're strong in that actually.
Okay. So comes to Basecamp, your second competitor. What is their strong zone?
The UI part and the flat pricing is a strong part.
UI and flat pricing.
Yeah.
What is their weak zone?
No, I think they still, as far as I have known, like they have the tool, but it's a tool for everyone, not for like one particular niche.
Okay. Too broad.
Too broad.
So how are they different?
No, they are different from us because they also give the internal one-on-one conversation chats, as well as like if they eliminate the Slack part. If you're using Basecamp, you don't need a third-party communication tool. You can talk within the third view. Like you can communicate anything related to the project or anything not related to the project also.
Yeah. So just for people watching, just because Ramesh is saying this out by heart doesn't mean that you can also do that. You have to actually go research your competitors on what
this
their
is my
strong
understanding.
zone, weak zone. Yeah.
Of course, whatever.
This is basically is because you worked on your product for so long. You understand who your competitors are, and you've obviously done your research.
Exactly.
So yeah, you have to go and actually do your research on how to get this done. So then comes to Doist. What is their strong zone?
The simplicity. Like simplicity is really nice actually.
Yeah, simplicity. What is their weakness? Again, simplicity.
Yeah, I think they're too simple, and it is more like they're not very focused on one.
I mean, it's more of a to-do list than a project management tool.
The to-do is like more than a project management tool, so it's not. It's more like they target everyone, but not sure who is the target market also.
Then how are they different?
Now, I'm not exactly sure because I like to do so. With respect to the part, they're also very nice with the simplicity when compared to the others in the market. Say, for example, if you take Trello or Basecamp, I really like they're different with respect to the UI and the positioning. Like not in the app positioning. I'm talking about the UI part actually. Positioning I'm talking about, which is nice actually.
See, one thing just to give you context is that it is okay. It is really okay to stand out and be different in the UI and UX part, because once you start, becoming a part of their customer's life, even though you keep increasing your pricing, if a customer feel like this tool is irreplaceable for me to get my job done, it doesn't matter what the features you have. It doesn't matter how high you are charging. If it gets the job done, it gets the job done. So having your UI UX as a core feature is okay to me. We'll come to there is a concept of 4 P's of differentiation. We'll come to that in the next part. But yeah, just giving you a short brief. If you feel like a company just standing out because of their good-looking UI, and it is okay, that is enough. For most of the people, that is enough. See, most of the companies convince me by just looking good on screen or on paper, or looks very beautiful. The reason why I choose Notion is because of simplicity. I don't have to juggle between 5 different Google apps. See, I was using Google Suite. I'm one person. Probably when I work as Stupidpreneur, I have my co-founder as well. So 2 or 3 people maximum working on it. We were okay with Google Tasks, WhatsApp chat or GChat or Google Sheets to maintain everything, Google Docs for all these things. That was okay. But once we moved to Notion, it felt really easier for us. We don't have to complicate anything else. We started leaving comments. We started using calendar views for our content scheduling. Everything was there. And I don't even have to pay for Notion right now to access these features,
Mm.
right? So just being very simple and looking good on good UI wise is enough for a product.
No, if you do the UX part correct,
Mm.
I think UX is like mostly
Mm.
most of them associate only with the UI part.
Yes.
But UX is like understand. If you do a proper UX,
Mm.
I think you will be able to understand the core
Yes.
pain points. You will be able to find out 3 core pain points of the customers,
Mm.
and based on that, you can start working on the UI. So so you should focus on the user experience.
Yeah.
If you think about the user experience, you will find the pain points of the customer.
Yes.
I always insist on that. It's just not like now that everyone says that everyone has a good UI. I'm not saying everyone has a good UI, but everyone have a good UX?
Yeah, that's the challenging part. Everyone has a good UI. Everyone can have a good UI, but UX is different. UX is different. Not every software has it. One thing I understood about Notion is that initially, as we mentioned, it has a very steep learning curve. It takes a very long time to figure out how to use Notion properly. But once you use it, it is really hard to get out of the ecosystem.
Oh, that's the point. See, I had used Notion, but at the point is like, as I told you, right? You start building it brick by brick,
Yeah.
and after a point, you don't see, because now you got somehow you put a lot of effort in learning it. Now you don't want to unlearn it, right?
Exactly.
Like so you just have to stick to it. But when I used it, I found out like why I see their website, their illustrations, they're all beautiful. Their UI, like they have put a lot of thought in each and every place actually. But unfortunately, it still sounds complex to me because I have to learn a lot. Like it's I have to find out the pieces together. Actually, their UI is really great, but the UX part is kind of little different. So that is one.
I mean, it serves a different kind of people really well. So
No,
probably not the kind of.
there are people who, if you go into any, if you read Reddit or any third party review sites and all, like you have people who defend for Notion, like a brand.
I am
right?
one of them.
Yeah,
I am one of them. I'll never give up on Notion.
So you
See,
don't.
even though I don't pay for the product right now, I used to pay for product back when I ran my agency and the other businesses. Right now, I feel like the free plan is enough for me, but I'll never give up on Notion.
Yeah. So this is the point. So
Yes.
because that is the effort that is putting in. So that is a market, that is also the Notion market that I am also having, because you don't need to spend too much time. But some of them you can't deny it actually. People like you wanted to make it easy, and it is also customizable, because for me, like if you look, though I put a lot of UX and UI, if you want to revamp the entire the pages as per your need, that won't happen here.
Okay.
But for them, it is easy to do it, right? Like you can play around with that. So that is the best part.
And one more thing I would suggest you to look at is there is a website called growth.design.
Okay.
Make a note of it as well. So growth.design, they do a lot of case studies on ethical UX.
Okay.
So not all these dark patterns on how to properly onboard people, how to let's say for example, if someone is leaving the product, how to take a proper exit survey. They take a lot of philosophies. They take a lot of real life companies. They mainly, what they do is that they critique what they're doing wrong. They show a solution how to do it right as well.
Okay.
So that is a very good case study. It is an entirely free website. So there are like 100 case studies already there live. So you can look into any user onboarding, or how certain websites, how a sign up page needs to be, where to upsell, where not to upsell. All these kind of stuff you can learn there. They also have a beautiful course on psychology behind UX as well. But yeah, you don't need that. I think the case study is more than sufficient for you.
Got it.
So before we go into the fourth piece of how to differentiate from your competitors, there's a concept called as perpetual map. So it is basically a plus graph which has 4 quadrants. One is expensive high quality, expensive low quality cheap, cheap and high quality. So you mentioned 3 competitors, and we'll take Astravue. So 4 companies. We have to put it in 4 different quadrants.
Okay.
Where are we? First is Trello. Where is Trello? Is it expensive high quality, or is it high quality cheap?
Oh, high quality cheap.
High quality cheap. Trello is high quality cheap.
Yeah.
Then comes Basecamp.
Yeah. So that will also see, all the 3 products play around that in this area, if I'm right, actually.
Basecamp. And also Todoist also comes in the same area.
Yeah. So, but I think you can move Trello to the high quality but because after a period of time it becomes expensive. So, so the entry is easy, but Todoist or Basecamp, the fee structure is competitively priced.
Yes.
Which means they're high quality and cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about Astra?
I think you don't use the word cheap. Maybe affordable.
Okay, affordable.
no, that word is more of
Yeah,
derived.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it will be
Got it. Cheap in terms of pricing, not in terms of product or anything.
no,
Yeah,
no, but yeah, just
got it.
mindset.
Affordable. Okay, so where is Astravue in this?
Yeah, I would put on the lines with Basecamp and Todoist right now.
Okay,
So
this
we
is
are,
Astravue.
yeah,
So this is Astravue,
yeah.
right? So one thing I want to ask you is that why aren't you focusing on this thing, high quality, expensive products?
We are right now high quality.
Hmm.
No, today morning that was the idea that was striking me because, like, if you look, in fact, I think the product is now good,
Hmm.
and since we have a lot of features, I'm not talking about we are high quality.
Hmm.
It's since we are actually delivering a key value,
Hmm.
which for any serious professional agencies,
Hmm.
I think we are rightly positioned for the high quality, high expensive, and I am actually considering to move from this particular zone to the next zone, which is on
Hmm.
the higher side actually, for
Okay,
sure. Because
done.
this is surprisingly, like today morning when I was
Hmm.
driving to the office before this meeting,
Hmm.
it started striking me because, like, I was thinking about today we're talking about branding and all. Then I thought,
Hmm.
why are we actually still around this range? Because we are actually giving value. Again, I'm telling you, not because we have the features. We don't have even a lot of features that I also
Hmm.
know. Like it doesn't mean we're talking about feature. Feature is not going to be the value. What is the value that I give you is
Hmm.
very important, and I believe that this is a value that
Hmm.
we are ready to move towards the expensive and high quality part actually.
Yes.
Because
See.
my focus is also on Trello.
Hmm.
I'm going behind Trello for this particular
Hmm.
because they have a lot of agencies covered up. If you talk to any marketer, they will always talk about Trello.
Yeah.
If you talk about any DevOps guys, like they will be talking about
Yeah.
Jira. So for me, but
Yeah.
Jira is too long shot right now, and that is not my audience also right now. So Trello is actually right.
Yeah. So
But I
one
don't want to
thing.
say put, since you have to position yourself as expensive only if I feel that the value is there.
Got it.
Earlier, like I was here at this particular point, I was feeling like, okay, now I think for this one, this is affordable
Hmm.
now. And now that, again, like reiterating the same points in the last 3 hours, 2 hours that we spoke,
Hmm.
my combining my morning thoughts in the during
Hmm.
the commute as well as right now during the interview, I feel that the value is important, and for the
Hmm.
value, I think we should also consider moving to the expensive because
Yeah.
not because I wanted to stand out expensive, but I think
Hmm.
I'm the right there to as a premium service
Yes.
app actually.
See, one thing we all confuse in our life or in our business is that just because someone is offering the same product for free doesn't mean that we can charge money for it. That doesn't mean that you can't charge money for it. Even though there's a free product, same exact free product in the market, you can charge money for it. See, I'll give you a very small example. Gmail is free, right? It has 15 GB of storage, it has all these features, it gives you Google Calendar, Drive, and everything, Google Photos, all these things. Gmail is free. But it offers the same feature, but with added one new stuff, basically your company email, and charges money for it. Okay. So even this you can consider as a value added feature. I'll give you another example. Gmail is free. There's a company called Proton Mail,
Mm,
which charges you just for higher security. On paper, if you look at it, Proton and Gmail have the same security.
exactly.
Probably one or two layers more. I'm not sure. I'm not a technical guy. Probably one or two layers more. To be honest, for a regular user, that won't make any of difference in your life. And just because some product is free in the market, that doesn't mean you can't charge money for it. It is up to how the brand is being positioned. I'll give you another example. Apple, few years ago, was giving away the charger bricks for free. One fresh day, they decided we are going to take $50 for it, $50 for it. What happened? Every single company did that. Every single company is charging for the bricks.
Exactly.
Just because it's free doesn't mean that you can't charge for it, right?
You,
So that should be the approach. See, if you know you can bring in value, you can ask money for it. See, even my branding course, let's say for example, the course that we are talking about, the brand engine course, there are a lot of courses out there in the US market in English that are less than what I'm charging. But one thing I'm very capable of is that of my onlyness statement. I know how branding works for small scale business because I'm not targeting companies that are making 100 crores revenue.
mm,
I'm not targeting companies that make millions in revenue. I'm targeting companies that are making 100,000 in revenue, or probably 1 to 2 crores per annum. This is the companies that I'm targeting,
Got it.
right? For them, the approach towards branding should be very different, and I'm teaching that, not the high level stuff, the on paper practical stuff that you can do it immediately. Like how we are talking right now, this is the stuff that is there in the course. So if you take a very high level course, they're not going to give you all this. They're going to give you philosophies, ideologies, principles. You'll probably be confused what should be done. This is very actionable. I know I can stand out, I can make money, I'll do it. If I'm being treated as expensive and high quality, let it be. I know it is high quality, I know it is expensive, but I feel like, to be honest, if someone watches the video and watches the course, they'll feel like this is actually affordable for this quality.
Exactly.
That is how it should feel. But on paper, it should be expensive and high quality. But once I get them inside the product, they should feel like they are scamming me of my money. Okay, for 20,000, you're giving away all this. I get to do all this. I'm saving lakhs and lakhs for my business every single month, and all this for just 20,000. That is how they should feel. That should be a shock. That should be the awe they get once they get into the course. So that is the goal. That is the goal of the product as well. See, right now I feel like I'm scamming Notion. That is how people should feel when they use Astravue. Okay, when they're using for the 3 free plans or 3 users, when they're using, they feel like if they're adding a fourth member and they're even thinking about abandoning Astravue, they should feel guilty. They should feel guilty. Oh my God, this product has done so much good for my company. It feels like cheating. It feels like, I'm being dishonest to this company for abandoning it right now. That is brand loyalty.
Got it. Yeah,
And
that's true.
one more thing I would
Loyalty.
suggest is that, if possible, do this as well. You say 3 free users forever, right? I don't know if there's already there or something that you can change. Charge only for the fourth user. Don't charge for all 4 users. Charge only for the fourth user.
Okay.
Because you said 3 free users forever. 3 free users will stay forever. Charge only for the fourth, fifth, and sixth users. Don't charge for the first 3.
Got it.
This is something that you can look into. This is a suggestion that you can look into.
Understood.
Right? So then, coming to the point, how do we stand out? Instead of fighting in a market which is already crowded, which is an $8 billion market, instead of fighting and being crowded there, how do we stand out? Right? So that is one thing that we have to. So basically, the whole point of the strategy is to figure out how to stand out. As I mentioned, there is 4 P's of differentiation. This is not a very widely accepted philosophy. This is basically what I've understood from my learnings. There are 4 different areas where a brand can stand out. There is called economical, functional, cognitive, and experiential. Right? So it's there on the 4 side. This is called as brands value buckets. So functional, economical, cognitive, and experiential. Functional is very simple. I have this feature, you have this feature. I have calendar reminders, you have calendar reminders. Comparing between features. Then comes economical. I am $10 per month, you are $7 per month. The competitor is $6, we are $5, competing on price. When you keep competing on price, you have to keep competing on price. You have to keep lowering your margins further and further. Okay. Then comes the cognitive aspect. How do people feel? How do people, not me, how do people feel when I say to them that I use Astravue for my management? Right? When someone holds up an Apple iPhone, they have a different opinion about me. I have a different opinion about them when someone holds an iPhone, right? Obviously, if someone holds an iPhone, there is an obvious trust that has been developed, right? I know for a fact that they will not grab my phone or run away. They won't snatch my bag and run away. There is a kind of trust that develops between when someone uses certain products, right? Let's say, for example, someone wears a Ray-Ban glasses, wears a Nike T-shirt, wears Nike joggers, all this kind of stuff, and comes and stands next to you. You feel like this is a premium guy who's earning tech money, probably based out of Bangalore or some New York-based product company. He's earning really good money and he's taking a walk in the morning. This is how you feel about him, right? You don't know his actual self. You feel like he's economically 3 or 5 times more valuable than you. This is cognitive value. Then comes the experiential value. How do people feel when they use your product? What happens when they use your product? So for any company, they should only differentiate on these 2 areas: cognitive and experiential.
Yeah.
Cognitive and experiential. If you're fighting on price, if you're fighting on functional, you have to keep fighting. They are launching a new feature, I'll immediately launch a new feature. This is right now happening with the AI wars. ChatGPT launches one feature, within the next 3 days, Perplexity launches the same. Claude launches the same. If Claude launches one, these 2 have to launch the same. It becomes mandatory for them to do that. But take all this. There is another AI tool called Google Gemini, which doesn't have most of the features, but they have one thing: an ecosystem. Gemini inside your sheets, Gemini inside your slides, Gemini inside your mail,
Mail.
Gemini everywhere, and they lowered the $20 bar. It is not $20; it's 1,000 rupees. That is 10 or $11. They've lowered the pricing. They have different kind of capabilities. They do have deep research. They have every other stuff, but their selling point is not any of this ecosystem, right? When you pitch an ecosystem, it is really hard to get out of it.
Got it. Understood. Yeah. That's
There
true.
is no way for us to get out of Google right now. There is no way you can get out of Google right now. If a human is born, they'll have a Google account. As simple as that. There is a human born.
I think everyone, most of the billions, the millions of people will be using Gmail
Yeah.
in one way or the other. Actually,
One way or the other, we are using some sort of Google product. Some sort of Google product. You are born, you have a Google account, you die. That's something reality, right? So they are selling an experience. They are selling a, what do you call it, an ecosystem, and no one can compete with them. What will happen in the future is that they'll also have ChatGPT, but they'll also have to pay for Google Gemini because this solves a different purpose. Very simple. They won't allow ChatGPT integration inside Gmail. They won't do it. They'll ask you to subscribe to their own AI. You'll have no other choice.
Got it. Yeah.
Very simple, right? So maybe you can start doing this. So
I think that's a very valid point. Anything, because you see, when you talk about brand,
hmm,
like two things stand out very clearly. One is the cognitive, one is the experience. How I
yeah,
feel about the product,
hmm,
and how it carries me
yes,
among others. Actually, if you're
yes,
able to differentiate on these two, you will be always considered a premium. It
yes,
need not be anything premium pricing or anything like, because if you
hmm,
compete in pricing, the one thing is very clear: you have to keep you have to keep lowering the margin,
hmm,
lowering the price, and then
yeah,
you also have to build a lot of features. And ultimately, the one who had been established in the industry for quite a long time will survive.
yeah,
The one person who will differentiate is like who solves the actual problem with you. Plus these two aspects, only then they will be able to survive in the
yeah,
market and they can build a brand around it.
exactly,
The rest of them will actually disappear, or
yeah,
they may not be available. So that's
exactly,
these two are very critical, which I understand.
yeah. So maybe
Thanks
you
for
can take
reminding
your
me.
time. Yeah, maybe you can take your time and also understand or define how you can differentiate Astravue in terms of cognitive and experience aspect. I know that in terms of experience, you can call your UI is superior. Your UI is superior. Your UX is also superior. I can give both this to you. But what more? I would suggest one small feature. This was something that actually happened to me on my commute. Let's say, for example, you onboard me. I'm logging into Astraview for the first time. You ask me my name. You ask me my organization. You put a mandatory star or asterisk saying that I have to upload my logo. I have to upload my logo. You put a mandatory star. I upload my logo. One thing that does that, obviously in the top left corner or top right corner, you'll put my logo. That is one thing. One more thing that you can do is that you can do some magical animation or do some circle wipe or something in the screen and change the dashboard colors based on my brand colors. What happens is that you are a different company, I'm a different company. You have yellow, I have red as my base color. We both use Astravue, but both our dashboards will look different.
Got it.
Instead of asking me to choose a color, you can take it from the logo and do it. This is not very complicated to do. I know even from technical point of view, this is not a very complicated stuff to do. You can ask me to upload my logo. Imagine how the user will feel. This will feel very personalized to me, right?
Got it. Yeah, no, it's a true factor.
Yes.
Because like I have not done the rebranding part as such, because
Hmm.
that's there in the plan. So when we thought of rebranding, it's not about the logo, but it's also like something. So sort of small things. I was talking about this, like very similar. Like
Hmm.
when a project is completed successful,
Hmm.
we just say project is completed successfully.
Hmm.
But one of them said like just throw some that what do you call
Confetti or
yeah
something like that.
confetti or
Yeah.
something like that, which will give them a nice feeling because
Hmm.
you have done something successful.
Hmm.
So give them that rich
Yeah.
feeling, which will make a difference. I think that's the kind of
Yes.
thing experience that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
You can look into a lot of experiential values like this. See, one thing that happens is that if a particular software gives me positive reinforcement every single time, I won't abandon it. I won't abandon it. One thing I feel like Notion fails is that it doesn't give me feedback or haptic feedback or what do you call it, experience based feedbacks. I just complete a task, it just disappears, nothing more. But there is another app called ToDoX, TEUX, DEUX. So that is basically like a lines every single where it is different into 7 different screens for 7 days. You type in text wherever you want, it adds a to-do list. Whenever you check it off, a cat pops in, saying that woo, it happens.
Ah,
So what happens just for the satisfaction of the cat jumping, you start doing the tasks.
No, it adds a big difference. If you look to
Yes.
any apps, any businesses that have survived, these small experience
Yes.
which makes them feel nice about them. Like
Yeah.
you have to feel, you bring in joy, you bring
Yeah.
in that happy
Yes.
moment actually, right? You will make a lot of
I think
difference.
to-dos has a nice ting sound whenever you complete a
Yeah,
ting.
I also like, so that's there's like some of them, like one of them suggested this. I have been thinking about it very
Hmm.
for quite a long time, like some kind of mascot that is coming up and
Ah,
throwing like magic, this
yes.
right, like the magic wand that comes in, and
Yeah.
that is a that's always in my idea, because
Nice.
that is, and that is also another thing that I also did the gamification in the same aspect actually. So
Hmm.
you just come and have a good feel about who's actually
Hmm.
doing one. But I'm not going to expose to the teams,
Hmm.
because gamification purpose is always to motivate each other. But once you put the board out of the in the workplace, be it
Hmm.
in this one or in a workplace, people immediately will try to find out crooked ways of like
Hmm.
getting into that particular board.
Yeah.
But that is one of the reasons why I'm exposing it only to the project admin, because only they can see it.
Hmm.
And maybe down the line they can give the appreciation saying that okay, like this is a now.
Hmm.
If someone asks, they have the stats inside.
Yeah.
So that is the purpose actually. The
Yeah.
gamification when set right is also nice too.
Yes.
Nice points actually.
Yeah. This is something that you can do. See, one more thing is that very simple elements in terms of UI UX. Whenever I log in to the first time, you can say good morning, Shashank. There can be a small. See, Notion does this beautifully. Whenever you go into Notion, you go to the home page. It says good afternoon, Shashank.
This is there
ChatGPT does
actually.
that too.
Yeah, I have that actually
Yeah,
from.
you can do that for user specific as well. These are very small things that the user will feel like, okay, this is my dashboard, this is my space. So I did this for my coffee company, or I put their name on the box. So that felt really very personal for them. No coffee box wishes them in the morning. If a coffee company is wishing them in the morning, they'll feel very attached to it. This is something that you can do for any product, right? So personalization to
Yeah.
some extreme levels. See, one more thing is that the notifications, the pop-up, the messaging, that should be very clear. I'll mention the product name. There's a company called Great HR. Okay, they are basically a HR management tool
Yeah.
where you can calculate leaves and everything. Great HR. You can apply for sick leaves or any kind of leave. They'll say have a good one. If you apply for a sick leave, they'll say a smiley emoji and say have a good one.
Hmm.
Imagine if someone is actually sick.
Actually,
How would they feel if a software is saying them that have a good one?
yeah, that is true.
Very simple messaging. It could have been get well soon or get better soon. Even no pop-up would have been better.
Instead of showing
Yeah,
something in the
nothing would
progress.
have been better.
Yeah,
Just saying leave applied would have been better.
that's
So, I
yeah,
mean,
that is
if great
very.
HR is watching this, please kindly go and fix it. It is really annoying, and someone who's actually sick, they'll feel irritated by using that software. Yeah.
The messaging is very important. If you put the wrong message
Yes.
the wrong time, then it is also going to
Exactly.
it will affect you in a very different way.
Yeah.
And especially with all the social media and right now the
Hmm.
branding, maintaining the coming to that particular position is different, but retaining that
Yeah.
is a much more tougher ask nowadays. Actually.
Exactly. Okay, coming to the messaging part. So we've done our positioning, we've done our product, we've understood all the ICPs and everything. So coming to the messaging part. So here we'll do three things. One is that the tone of voice, how Astravue should sound, and some phrases that you can own. One is that affordable, project management tool made for service business, phrases like that. Then comes the never say, what we should avoid. Never use words like cheap. Never use words like we are for small teams, we are for large scale enterprises. Words that we should avoid. Do you have something that you have in mind?
Now the tone of the voice is like, say for example, loud. What is it impactful? The tone of the voice should be of relief, right? Like they have to have a
Yes.
sense of relief,
Hmm.
because once they use it, like they know, like
Hmm.
I'm in good hands and things will
Hmm.
be under my control. That's the kind of relief
Hmm.
messages that have to come. So that tone should be there.
Hmm.
So this is very that should be one of the tone that I wanted to maintain.
Hmm.
The other one is it's more like the joyful plays also, like the fun
Hmm.
element, right? Like it's not only like you can the chat should be more on not on the serious aspect, but on a very
Hmm.
playful way to communicate. That's one of the things Slack also got a hit, right? Like you
Yeah.
can, it's not just in the channels. You can talk among yourself and have some
Hmm.
playful things, or you can create a group among yourself,
Yes.
put it in private mode. So that is a kind of feel that should have. So that is one thing. And then the other moment is like, how do you feel? Like peace, right?
Hmm.
A sense of Zen mode,
Okay. Hmm.
right? That is something that should be there actually in the tone,
Hmm.
which means that you're in a very calm and composed way, and I know what exactly I'm doing, right? Like this is kind of tone that I have to maintain. Somewhat like a meditation guru talking to you,
Yeah.
relax, take a breath. I'm here to take care of everything.
Hmm.
That kind of tone should be there in the messaging.
Done. So see, one thing I would add upon to this is that you have to be very respectful as well. So because you are talking to people who are either founders or project managers who are very serious about their business, because humor doesn't work for every single business.
Yeah, no,
For
it's a serious
some,
business here.
yeah, this is a very serious business. When you talk about project management, if you're joking, it people won't take you seriously, basically.
Yeah,
Right. In some lines of business, you have to be very serious, and I would suggest not to use a funny or humorous tone, but you can attack certain behaviors of them. Let's say, for example, if you feel like using Jira is cool, have you tried Astravue? This kind of statements are fine. If you feel Jira is cool, Astravue is much more cooler. We pity you, something like that. This kind of statements is fine. But nevertheless, we shouldn't go and say that Astravue is for junkies, Astravue is for crazy people or stuff like that. Because that is not the kind of questioning that we're trying to look into.
there should be a professional tone that has to be made. So
Yes.
that is the clear. If you're talking in that aspect, yes, the tone of the tone should be more on the professional aspect, because this is a tool not unlike the media where you can just
Yeah.
talk with bros and dudes and buds, right? Like it is
Yeah.
more of the sir and madams actually,
Yeah.
or at least a name here. So
Hmm.
you have to maintain the professionalism throughout, and that is how you can sound very well in front of
Done.
your customers. So the
Exactly.
professional tone should never go away,
Yeah.
which is perfect. Yeah.
See, just for people watching, the thing is that it depends upon what line of business that you're in. If you're in a lifestyle business, it might differ for you. If you're in a, let's say, for example, D2C brand, it might be different for you. So it depends upon what line of business that you are in. And one more thing, the reason why I keep pushing the course is that even though we have a conversation here right now, most of the stuff we have certain things figured out even beforehand. Even before getting into this conversation, we had a lot of things figured out, and even Ramesh has a very clear understanding of what his business is. But this course is for people who don't understand the business or understand how to do all this kind of stuff. So that is why I'm pitching the brand engine course for you. If you want, you can check it out. Okay, so coming back to this, so there are a few phrases that the business should own, right? So one is project management for agencies. Project management for agencies. So what are the other phrases do you think Astravue can own?
So maybe the simplified. It's a simplified PM tool actually, or something like that.
Simplified PM tool. Simplified PM tool. Yeah. You ignored the part of profitability. There should be something about profitability.
I think we talked a lot about it, so I thought
Yeah.
I should
No. See, if you're talking about a certain feature over and over again, that means that is the most important part of the product, right? PM tool focused on project management.
Yep, PM tool on profit margin. Yeah,
PM tool focused on profitability. So these are kind of the phrases that you can know.
yeah.
See, the reason for doing this is that whenever you do your newsletters, whenever you do your social media campaigns, whenever you do even a public talks, you should use these phrases in your statements or in your writing so that people recollect this forever.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll give you one more small example. What we did with Guvi was that, I mean, not me, Guvi, what initially did was that Guvi is not an edtech company. Guvi is a vernacular edtech company. They were very clear about it. Whenever we mentioned it, Guvi, a vernacular edtech brand, because we were the pioneers of vernacular edtech, and we were the first one in the vernacular edtech market. So we owned that market. Instead of calling us an edtech, then if we call ourselves an edtech, there are 15 other people we are competing with. If we call ourselves a vernacular edtech brand, there is no one we are competing with.
Either you have to be very specific about the niche, or you have to be very clear with your USP, the only
Yes.
USP that you have actually.
Yeah. So, and whenever you talk about Astravue, make sure you at least use one of these three things.
Yeah.
Astravue is a simple PM tool that does so on. Or Astravue is the best project management tools for agencies focused on profitability. Or Astravue is the PM tool that is the only PM tool that focuses on profitability for agencies and service business. Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think that is a message that we are
Yeah.
maintaining right now.
Right? So, what is something that you should avoid? Okay, I'll give you my opinion. What are the few things that you should
Yeah, I
avoid?
think you can because
Yeah,
I think if you are maintaining the professional tone, then I
yeah.
don't see anything on the
Avoid
avoiding part.
funny. Basically, avoid funny.
Yeah, okay. So if funny in the sense, now you should not be sarcastic.
Yes,
That's the most
sarcasm.
important. Yeah. So you can the sarcastic tone should be avoided.
Yes.
You can be funny, but not don't be sarcastic.
Yeah.
Uh, and don't sound like being cool.
Yeah.
Cool is very another important factor that is going to
You are not cool. You are professional.
yeah more avoid the abbreviated languages
Yeah. Avoid abbreviations.
because it's more like the Gen Z talk like
Mm.
like my marketer actually sometimes like he put another word like TMF or something like that.
Mm.
Then I have to Google what is TMF in local slang actually because uh, I know like certain abbreviations are standard. He said it was like work to be done, like work to be done tomorrow or something like this. Like for that, yeah, work WTD, I think actually,
Uh,
yeah, work to be done tomorrow. So, why didn't you type that actually? So it's easy, but the message may not convey to everyone because
yes.
like the age personas that are going to use these tools are somewhere between 25 to 30. By the
Yeah.
time they become the cool dudes will become very serious
Yeah.
professionalism by 25 to 28.
Mm.
So obviously we have to maintain uh, a neutral tone is what you have to maintain out there. So
Mm.
you have to sound professional,
Mm.
but what you have to avoid doing is like don't sound anything sarcastic or funny or don't try to be cool actually because I think many of them to be frank actually I have seen tools like talking about shit or F asterisk K actually
Mm.
right. It has become nowadays cool to talk about, but
Yeah.
I feel that it's okay to use when you're actually to someone whom you're very close.
Mm.
But when you're talking to someone, even like third party, you have to know that it may not sound nice actually.
Yeah.
I had a very bad experience on that in not now, like a few years back, but it's better to avoid those kind of
I mean, this is
unnecessary
basically
situations actually.
this is basically a personal attack on me. I use a lot of these F words. I use a lot of B words. I use all this kind of
No,
language because
if you're talking between friends or if you know the brand,
mm,
that is completely different. Now, when you send out, now I get even newsletters talking about like see
yeah,
even in the newsletters we talk about the F factor, right? The F bombs are fine when it is like comes in a natural, untoned way. Actually,
uh,
now in the name of sounding cool, right? Like many of them, even in the subject line, you see the F words.
yes,
I don't think you need the F bombs straight away. Like
yeah,
what am I trying to prove here by using the
mm,
F bombs? In fact, like in one of the previous organizations that I worked, like using these cool the asses and F's
mm,
and all those things
mm.
were thrown left and right. Actually, I didn't find anything cool about it.
Yeah. I mean, it
Just
depends from person to person and
no,
the
no.
kind of TG that you're
See,
targeting.
I'm fine with you. Like you're not my friend. Actually,
Mm,
don't come used to me. If I'm using it, I'm fine with it. Like, can you use the same thing? Like, if your dad is working in your same place, nowadays it has become that way, right? Like
yeah,
in an IT space, like I have seen dads and like a kid were like his son working in the same place,
yeah,
his brother and sister. If you're talking about it, are you going to use the same language?
mm,
You can use it in your home. Actually, I don't worry about it. I have used it actually. That's not a
mm,
problem at all. I use it with my friends.
mm,
If I know them personally well, I say like, what the fuck actually.
mm.
But now, if I'm using it in front of like to a third person when I'm writing a newsletter,
Mm.
what am I trying to prove there?
Yeah. So, I mean, see, all this messaging is fine. You know, we have certain guidelines on how to do messaging and everything.
No,
So,
again, like see,
mm,
I'll tell you very clearly. This is for the organization that is running a
yeah,
business.
yeah,
See, if you're an influencer or if you're doing something else,
mm,
if you're like a Forever 21 kind of product, right?
mm,
You have to use those
yeah,
because otherwise you will be
will be left behind. Yeah,
you are the boomer behind that actually,
yeah,
right? Like the kids won't even walk into a store actually because you
definitely.
consider boomer like
Yeah,
otherwise. So for me here it is a different tone. So since it fits in Forever 21, it doesn't mean it has to be fitting here,
mm,
right? That's the difference I'm talking about.
yeah,
Can you use the same thing when you go into the church or a temple, right?
no,
What is the reason you avoid that? Simple.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
it's only a premise.
mm,
It's the same set of people. It's the same people who is not going to take anyone offense.
mm,
And you go into a temple, then you completely become so spiritual and so religious. So You must see the difference, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are certain places you have to avoid. That's as simple as
Yeah, got it.
yeah. My personal opinion on that.
Yeah. So coming to the touch points. So we fine tune the messaging. So this is how a brand should sound, and we fine tune the messaging. Then comes the touch points. So touch point is basically wherever people can find out or use your product or interact with your product or your company in any manner. So I have listed a few. If there is something more, you can add on. So one is the website, then is the social media, then when they're actually using your product, then your emails, then when they interact with the founders, and your ads. Is there anything else?
No, I think networking, like um, blogs
Blogs
is
is
one.
one more. Yeah.
One thing. Then you're talking about exhibitions that you're talking about, right?
Okay. Offline events,
Offline events, community meetings,
community meetups.
yeah, founders.
I think this is more than
Yeah,
sufficient.
I think it is. This is
The
more.
reason for listing out your brand touchpoints is that whenever you craft messages for all these areas, it should sound the same. It should sound the same. Like how you've written your
Yeah,
website,
basic.
your offline ads or banners should say the same. Your community tagline or your community groups should all be focused on this particular messaging, right? So that is something that you definitely have to look into. Then finally comes the lead journey. So lead journey is very simple. There's a cold lead, they become warm, they become hot, and they become your actual customer, right? So cold lead, just for people watching, cold lead is people who've never heard of us or probably they've ghosted us. That is the cold lead. Warm lead is that they are aware of you, they're interested, but they're not convinced. They want proof or they want they want something more from the company to get convinced. So that is warm lead. Basically, we have to put effort to make them a warm hot lead. Hot lead is ready to buy. We are what they need, but they need a little bit of urgency. They want to trust us before they buy. So this is the lead journey, right? So when it comes to branding, the reason why I put up this lead journey is because we have to clearly define what we're going to talk to these people so that cold becomes warm, warm becomes hot, and hot becomes a customer,
Okay.
right? So what if someone has never heard of us? What is the one thing they should hear about you when they're looking for clarity plus relevance? So I'll be very clear. So this is probably for the cold leads. Think about like your website landing page. Whatever you put on a website landing page, that is enough for a cold lead. Because if someone is coming and looking at your product for the first time, they'll probably come and look at your website and they'll understand that this is a PM tool focused on profitability for agencies. We'll put that.
Yeah.
Okay, PM tool focused on profitability for agencies. What if you are a warm lead? What is something that you need to do? What is something that you should do from your company's end to do that?
Oh, we have talked about it, right? Like
Hmm.
age companies of your size have
Hmm.
seen profit
Hmm.
grow from this number to this number.
Ah.
So that is the proof, because that's we
Hmm.
wanted the warm to be moving towards a hot. Then you have to show the social proof
Hmm.
that it is working, it is trusted by many.
Hmm.
Then the other one is also pointing them to the awards that you get from third party sites like trusted
Yeah.
sites.
Hmm.
And then you can also share the reviews that has been done.
Hmm.
So warm is like you cannot move warm to hot immediately. There will be
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah, it takes time.
things. Right? So I think reviews and awards
Hmm.
and the social proof, like
Yeah.
what is it, what companies have achieved using Astravue is something that we have to
Yeah.
say the fact.
So what I put is that companies of your size has seen, just giving a random number, is 18% profit within 3 months, and show them reviews, awards that you've made, and whatever achievements that you have, and basically your clientele. So basically the people who are using our products and everything, the logos that we put on the
Yeah.
website, so stuff like that. So if someone is hot, who is ready to buy, they need urgency plus trust. What is something that you should definitely do for these people?
So that is a tricky part now.
Okay, one thing I'll tell you is that do not think about discounts.
No,
not think
not
about
discounts,
discounts.
because discount is again you're putting them back to warm actually,
Yeah.
or even they may go to cold,
Yes.
because or you are going to lose the revenue aspect for with your customer.
Yes.
Actually. So discount is never a fact.
Hmm. What do you do for a hot lead?
Interesting.
See, one thing that you can do is that, from my experience, what I've understood is that the messaging that you use for a warm lead can be used same for the hot lead, but with a little bit more urgency as well. Let's say, for example, I'll give you a small example for a cohort. Let's say, for example, I'm running an offline cohort. someone is interested. I'll say that the same stuff is available, but only 3 seats left,
Mm.
2 seats left. This gives them a sense of urgency. I am giving them urgency plus trust. How is the trust building? Initially, there was 30 seats open. Right now, there is only 4 seats left. That means that 26 people have paid for it. This gives them urgency and trust. This is something that you should look into for Astravue as well.
I think more than the urgency, for me, what I can think on the trust factors,
Hmm.
join X number of people who've already started using the product soon, actually, to be part of the journey. And maybe like down the line, when we try to run roadshows, maybe we will say that if you're being a part of this, you're invited for the journey. Like
Yeah.
that is a kind of message that you can put for hot. But at least for now, I can say that join so many number of people to increase your profitability. Like this is a they're already starting to seeing the needle move from 18 to 20% now. Are you ready now? Actually, that's the kind of thing that I would say. Actually, don't miss it out. Better to not too late. Actually, I think that is the kind of urgency that we can talk right now on the hot factor.
Okay.
Maybe down the line when we are actually meeting in communities, then you're invited free actually so to join us in the community that you are hosting. Actually, that's another message. Maybe I'm not sure whether we can use free.
Okay.
But yeah, since we are avoiding the discount part, because like when you go to hot, the branding perspective, I never thought about this. That's the reason why I was hesitant. From a sales point, it is always that, right? Like you just the last moment when they're hot and you wanted to convert them, otherwise you don't want to put them back. You always tend to end up saying that, okay, buy this much, 2 more seats, or you get one more, then we will give you this much. Because at this particular point, they're placing the hot persons will always play with the pricing point. That's the customer also knows that.
Yeah.
Right? But in the branding, it is interesting to know. Yes.
See, one more thing I would suggest for discounts, for looking into discounts as well. This is my philosophy at least. Never say that you are giving out a 50% discount. Say that you still pay me the same money. I'll give you more features. I'll give you more seats. As you mentioned, for 2 seats, I'm charging $50 per month. Or for 10 seats, you're charging $50 per month. Say that I'll give you 12 seats, but still pay me $50. You're getting more value, but your cart value is not decreasing.
I'm actually like, in fact, uh, I'm just interesting. If you want, you can think about it. Recently, I've been very recently discussing on going first on the usage based actually.
Okay.
So
Usage-based project management. Okay.
nothing on pricing, nothing on feature, nothing on seats actually. Nothing on like based on the number of API hits, number of tasks that you create, number of files that you use, pay for us. That's the model that I wanted to move forward. Nobody has done it. So maybe we'll.
I think if someone is capable of doing it, I think it's you.
Because
Stupid man.
stupid, yeah. Like I was no, that's this exact dialogue I was telling to Radha, also the co-founder. So because I said like, see, we have done, we are not experimenting. Let's sound stupid. That's fine. But at least we know that we tried and that it is not working out. Without, I always believe in the concept that don't end up or give up without knowing what, without trying actually.
Maybe instead of trying this publicly, you can start with a private conversation with a, let's say for example, you have a lead. You for sure is not going to buy, or probably there's a 50-50 chance that he'll buy. You can pitch to them saying that, okay, don't give me anything right now. I'll give you all the access and everything. You can pay me based on usage. For your company size, I estimate that by end of this month, you'll be paying us, let's say for example, $55. This is all I estimate you doing. If it goes overboard, we'll bear it. From the just next month, if you see value in our tool, then maybe you can come to us. This is something that will definitely convince a customer, according to my end. So when it comes about urgency and trust and everything, I would suggest something like, saving them something. So that obviously converts a warm lead into a hot lead. Let's say for example, you've already told that I can make 18% plus 18% profits. That is, you are already done. One more thing is that you are making me money, and I have to save you something, right? You're saving me 3+ hours a week. You're saving me 6+ hours a week. If you're saving me 8 hours a week, that is basically one day you're giving back to me.
4 days.
One day you're giving back to me, right? So if a company says that a project management tool can save me 8+ hours a week, that is a no-brainer for me, and that should be your messaging for your hot leads. Even let's say you're doing a nurture campaign or an email nurture campaign or WhatsApp nurture campaign, these are the kind of elements that you can incorporate to it, right? This is what will create actual urgency, will build more trust, and also will feel like, okay, I'm being stupid by not saving one day of my week, right? If I'm saying 8 hours a week, that is one full working day.
Yeah.
right? So that is something that you can do. So maybe I'll just put into 8 hours, 8+ hours a week. But I'm not sure whether that's true, 100% true for Astravue. It may be 2 hours, it may be 3 hours, whatever it may be. That is savings.
30 minutes. Time is always valuable than the
Time is
money
always
actually.
valuable for project managers,
For everyone.
for everyone. Yeah, right. So then comes the core offering. Okay, this might be very easy for Astravue to say. There are a lot of companies that have a lot of different product lines or everything. Let's say, for example, even for Stupid Runner, I have ebooks, I have courses, I have workshops, I have online coaching sessions, I have consulting, I have newsletters, I have subscriptions, I have all this kind of product offerings. But there is one core offering that you always pitch to everyone. One thing that you say about the company that you always say that yields money. For me, it is always my ebooks. Whenever someone talks to me, they know that they have a newsletter or they have a LinkedIn profile. I'll tell to them straight away that okay, there's an ebook that you can buy. Even in my email welcome sequence, I'll pitch them to my course or my ebook.
Okay.
Right? So what is your one core offering? So I mean, Astravue is very simple. You have one product which is Astravue. Labam is a secondary product, but as of now, we can just focus on Astravue.
No, because both are actually driving towards profitability. That's the core
Yes.
offering that we are talking about actually. Because
Hmm.
the moment you actually start using the product,
Hmm.
you're going to, you're not going to leak money at the very
Yes.
first place actually. So this is the first thing, and then you will start controlling things, and then you will move towards the profit side actually,
Yes.
or the expected, like whatever target profit that you had in mind, you will be retaining the target profit.
Yeah.
Because either now people, the margin comes down,
Hmm.
or they are actually going into the loss side,
Hmm.
which we are not able to track. We help you to keep an eye on the profitability without losing track of your project.
Exactly. So then comes, so right now we understand that there is a core offering that we have. We understand a lot of users pain points and everything, but there is always a broken experience that triggers customers, right? uh, I'll tell you one example regarding to Astravue. Jira is too complex, Trello is too simple, why not try Astravue, right? So this is a problem. I mean, I want this to be a problem. This is a fancy statement that I'm giving you right now, but I want this to be a problem. You don't have to spend hours and hours tracking what you did inside Jira. This is an actual pain point. You don't have to worry about whether my manager will understand what I did on a Trello. This is another problem, right?
Okay.
So, what is the current problem statement that Astravue is solving right now? This is from a customer point of view.
Okay. What is the current problem you're talking about?
Yes, current problem. What's broken in the current experience? See, that's why I'm giving you an example. See, Jira is too complex.
No, no. See, that is straightforward answer there actually, because as I told you, right, to predominantly we have given demos. The demos never ran behind 10 minutes because it's very easy to understand.
Yes.
And the learning curve is something that I'm completely avoiding it here, because that is one thing. Because there is, like, when you have a project management tool, you have to even if it is a new hire or an experienced hire, to adapt to the product, they have to go through the onboarding, the training guide and tutorials, and there should be an one-day session for them to teach the product, right?
Yes.
I'm completely avoiding that, and that is another way of saving the money also, like saving the hours.
Yeah.
Because they're getting straight into the project, they're not focusing on what should I learn in this one. Because if you want to get into Jira, you have to have a proper understanding of where you have to log in. So where is the backlog going in, where is a bug should be logged, actually how the task should be linked, all those things would be there. And for an agency, it is too complex. For a big companies, it's fine to them, because they hire only the certified engineers of Jira. But here in our case, like agencies, for them, they want something to be taken off immediately, get things done. So that is the problem that we are easily solving right now.
So, as you mentioned, so I knew this was the answer, but the reason why I wanted it from you is because whenever you answer it, it means that you understand your product really well. Even coming from a user point of view or coming from a third person point of view, if it comes from the founder, it's always better. As you mentioned, it doesn't take you a week to adapt to the product, because as you mentioned, 15 minutes onboarding. You can get your first product started in 15 minutes. You don't need an onboarding sequence. All it takes is that it's just plug and play. You log in, probably you take 5 to 10 minutes to figure out what it is, you are done. So the biggest problem that you're solving, even for Jira or for the Monday.com or all your ClickUps and everything, is that it takes at least a week for the whole company to adapt. But when you're using Astravue, you don't have this problem.
Yes.
It doesn't take you a week to adapt, right? One more reason why we are framing this in the customer's mind, or customer base perspective, is because you can A/B test this in your landing page header as well. A project management tool that doesn't take you a week to adapt, because this is a constant pain point a lot of people have. Whenever they're trying to switch tools, they know that okay, if we sign up to a new tool, it will take at least 1 week or 15 days for us to learn. By then all the client projects will get lagged behind, we will fall behind on revenue. All this nonsense will be there in the founder's head, and they'll be like, okay, let's stick with it even though this is expensive.
Got it.
This is what happens a lot of time. But when you say that it doesn't take a week for you to adapt, it is as simple, and the founder is like, okay, why not try it for one day? Maybe on a Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon, we'll start doing this.
Yeah.
Why not try it for half a day and see whether our team is capable of doing it, right? If it is as simple as that, why not adopt it? Even if we want to pay more, if it's simple, it's better. Very simple. Done. So then comes the one-liner. So this could be a quote, a tagline, or your mission anchor, whatever it may be, something that brings the team together. Something, this is for internal purpose, not for external
So
purpose.
this is simplifying complexity. As simple.
Yes, done.
That's our tagline for
Yes,
the company, which
simplifying complexity. Simplifying complexity. See, that is your core offering. That is your core business. See, somewhere inside your website or inside your onboarding sequence, this should be there. People should know that Astravue is basically simplifying complexities. Astravue is a company that is simplifying complexities. Let's say, for example, in the future, even you launch a different kind of product, which is not at all related to project management, still you should be simplifying some sort of complexity. Should be simplifying some sort of complexity, right? So yes, that is basically Astraview, and that is basically a very short glimpse of your brand strategy. How you should position your brand, how you should communicate, how you should message. Based on this, you can write a landing page sequence for your entire website. That is something that you can do. And I think I've already given you an answer. Even when we spoke, I've given you an answer. The only project management tool that is focused on profitability, which is made specially for agency business owners. That is plain one-liner that I would suggest. So before we go and give all this data to an AI overload and ask it what can be my one pager be, or what my one pager can be, I want you to give me a short brief on what happened today, I don't say you've learned something, at least what you had revelations on, what you've understood on, in your words, so that I can sell my course.
No, like, see, it's as I told you from the beginning, this is when you wanted to build, when you want to have a legacy, you have to think about branding. So
Yes.
we talked about only specific brands like maybe Red Bull.
Yeah.
Then we spoke about iPhone. Then we spoke about Nike.
Yeah.
So you have Adidas, you have Puma, you have other products. We never spoke about them. They have their own stories. They have everything.
Yeah.
But these have stood apart across the globe. It's not just in one particular country we are talking about. We're talking across the globe. So here, the importance of branding is very, like, you have to think from day one. It's the moment you start building the app, it's app is part of your branding. App is the service is part of your branding strategy. These are all your branding actually. These are all should be a part of your brand, and you have to have the strategy around that actually. So this is something that you have to keep in mind from day one if you're trying to build a legacy. That is what I would say. And from the revelation part, yes. So, like, you understand, there are a lot of things you already know. Like, everyone knows all this particular part. It's just that what should be aligned together and how we should be focused in building this particular brand is the most key point. We know, like, it's not that I didn't know, or it's not that I know everything. It's just that, like, I have read about this, I understand what is brand, but having this session was an eye opener, because if you looked in the video, like, I have written almost like 15, 16 points that actually helps me to streamline the way that I position my servers and my app to my customers. This has been actually in a way that revelation, like, on how do you have to build the brand landing page, what is your messaging throughout. You have to keep one message and explicitly say about the why part throughout your journey, and that should not be talk of only myself or my co-founder. It should be the talk of the company at the very
Yes.
from the start till it is being acquired or exiting, or you're there until the world perish actually, right? So
Yeah.
this should be the core messages. And I think there is a lot of revelations, there are a lot of small takeaways, like say for example the nice kind of confetti messages that we spoke. These are all small things, like small gestures, small things make a big difference in every app. Like it's not like
Yes.
great features win the product. It is like small gestures bring you more customers, and that is also part of the brand that I see actually
Yeah.
here. So I'm not saying great features are important. Features are important. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But focus on small things that bring a moment of smile everywhere. There should be some kind of
Yes.
smile, a joy, a relief that they have to experience in every page. There is one thing that I used to. That's the reason why I started with emotions. When anyone uses your tool, right?
Yes.
There should be an emotion that should be connected here. that is that is what I would say. Like, you build pieces together like IKEA or Lego in Notion, and that is why you are still able to connect that particular dot for Notion throughout the entire talk we had. We didn't talk about like too much of Jira, or we didn't talk too much of Trello. So that is the emotion that we have for every page. I always used to say, like, even the page when I decide, right, I think about the emotional part is very important, because that's how you stand apart in the crowd. You have to say, when they look into the landing page, it should say them, wow, this is the okay, this is what I benefit out of it, and that should raise their eyebrow. So that
Yeah.
is the kind of thing that they have to go. And the pricing should be somewhat like, okay, that should be relieved, like I'm paying for what I am using actually, kind of feel should be there. That is a message that should be there. Then they should be shocked by the team who's actually done. So everything, I'm just connecting with emotions to play around.
Yes.
Every screen which we do, every images that goes out, we think what is the message at the end of the day they will get out of it. So because these are all important part, because emotions connect you with brand,
Yes.
and these emotions in a way tie your loyalty. It's the emotions, and the brand is tied through the loyalty.
Yes.
So I think there is a lot of takeaways for me. And yeah, I think I will also be doing a lot of experimentation based on our discussion right now.
Yes.
I think we will be following that in the journey after we finish this
That is the
course.
ultimate goal for me.
So yeah, no, I'll be doing a lot of, because like certain things you spoke about, right? I have a lot of thoughts coming in mind parallelly. I think like somewhere I was just thinking about what should I do for this one parallel. In my parallel world, I was thinking about that. You would do it, I would do it, right? So good takeaways from here. Actually, it is a great experience of, in fact, like building Astravue as a brand, sharing it with you at the very first place, doing it for the first time here on YouTube. Like I'm really thankful in a way to be part of this particular journey, and thanks you to have me as a like, what do you call, as
Lab
a
rat.
student, lab rat, whatever you use, a student, I would call student, uh, to help me walk through this branding strategy.
Okay.
It's really of great help actually. I think I'm blessed with that because I think we are all stupid pronouns together actually.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed in that aspect.
Yes. So, yeah, first of all, see, even the conversation that we had regarding this is that I told you that only a stupid person will say yes to this, and you said yes the next second, right? So, that is how the whole concept was. Because before you, I at least spoke to 20 different companies or founders asking whether they'll be open to doing this. None of them wanted to show what their brand is. And see, few of them were my clients. I was the one who helped them build their brand strategy, but they were not open to doing this in a public way, because they felt like, that will lower their brand's reputation in some manner, because they are showing their vulnerabilities publicly. Even though they didn't say yes, but I gave them a very small piece of advice. If your brand is not vulnerable, if your brand is not being the real self in front of your customers or people are not going to trust the brand. All the brand strategy, all the books that you have regarding your brand, your guidelines and everything is going to go to waste. You mentioned transparency as a point in Astravue. This means transparency. This shows transparency. Even let's say, for example, 5 years down the line, if someone comes and joins Astravue and they get a peek of this video, they'll understand how the company was actually built. See, I may have, been, like probably 0.001% of whatever you built for Astravue, but they'll understand what are the struggles that you went through, what are the philosophies that you have for Astravue, and everything they'll understand through this one video.
Exactly.
And probably in the future, if you rewrite project management, this video will become a case study on how to build a project management company. I sincerely hope that happens also, right? So yeah, thank you so much for doing this. Before we close, I'll give a small pitch to the course as well.
Sure.
So basically, the brand engine course is a more detailed, elaborate version of the particular conversation that we had. This is basically for one industry that I had with Ramesh, specifically for his company. But the brand engine course is tailored for someone to arrive at the conclusions that already Ramesh had arrived at. So if you're someone who's looking to build your own brand strategy for your business, or want to offer brand strategy as a service to your clients, let's say for example you're a designer or a web developer, you want to offer brand strategy as a service, take up the brand engine course. You will learn it from start to finish, everything on how to build a mission and vision statement till how to prepare a final one pager. The course has everything. So that is basically my 6 years of experience combined into 5 to 6 hours of video with a lot of interesting perks inside the course as well. It is actually, I would say, it is not pricey. For 20,000, you are getting more than what you can imagine for, and for 40,000, you get it with my consulting as well. So if that is something that you're looking into, yeah, please go ahead, check the link below in the description, or go back to the email where you found this video. You'll have all the links and everything. So if possible, I'll see you inside the course. If not, no hard feelings. Just drop a like and say thank you for teaching me something. That will be more than
I
happy.
think you're being too humble here, because I think whatever he has taught me, I would say it is more of an MBA course.
Okay.
So I believe you have priced it in a very affordable way, which is
Yes.
like people who are very serious about building a brand
Hmm.
should be taking up this as a serious opportunity. Like go through the course material and connect with them to gain ideas. Like ideas keep evolving.
Hmm.
So I would strongly recommend that you just get this course on. And again, like as I'm saying, like I'm not sure why he is giving for such an at a lesser cost actually, uh,
Like I
because
mentioned, I have a core vision to enable business.
so yeah, he has a very core vision. So for that price, I think that's fine. For me, like today, this 4 hours has been a good revelation on a lot of other aspects.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that by the time you finish the course, you will also find your own mission and vision, and you will find out a way to make your business as a great success.
Yeah.
I think all wishes to all the future students of or the
Yes.
stupidpreneurs of Shashank. Right?
Yeah. So before we sign off, so AI has prepared a one pager for Astravue. I'll read it out loud for the users as well and for you as well. So if you like it, you can say yes. If you don't like it, we can revamp it after the call ends and everything. So yeah, I just read it out. Every agency has that moment when things feel like they are running but nothing's really moving. We've been there. Our team was juggling tools, tasks on one app, chats on another, spreadsheets to track timelines, a separate doc for brief, and Slack exploding with messages. Work was happening, but alignment was missing. Priorities got lost in translation. Clients followed up more than we did, and profit, we couldn't even tell where we were earning or burning money. That's when we built Astravue. That's why we built Astravue. Not another to-do list, not a bloated work OS, but a focused, intuitive space made for service team like ours, who need clarity more than complexity. Astraview became our answer to chaos, a place where task, time, conversation, and client visibility lived together. A system that didn't just help us deliver, but also help us understand why and where projects succeed. Today, Astraview powers agencies that want to stop guessing and start profiting. We are not here to compete with the loudest platforms. We are here to serve the ones that want to actually get things done clearly, simply, and profitably. Because project management shouldn't feel like a circus, it should feel like momentum.
Perfect.
This is basically Astraview's one pager branding document.
Paka.
How do you feel?
No, this is actually to the point, actually.
Done. Would you frame this and put it on a place somewhere?
Yeah, I think we can use it as a pitch itself, actually.
Nice. That is what we are hoping for. I think this video has come to a good conclusion. Before he starts criticizing this, I'll end this. So, thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.